That I've never thought of myself as a legend.
But it's going to be Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Earnhardt Jr. wins at Talladega.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the 46th Daytona 500.
I wanted him to be proud and happy. That was way more important than a trophy. He was going to build one of the best race teams that this sport would ever see. Imagine getting a belt from Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
In some of the toughest moments, you're just like, I want to disappear. If that never happened, I'd probably race way on into my late 40s.
2015 hits. Well, how'd this happen between you two?
You know, every team needs that sort of clown, right? That class clown.
Have you ever gotten that like mental to where you're like, I'm going to wreck this car?
There was one, and this is one I don't tell.
Welcome to another episode of Bussin With The Boys. I am your host, Will Compton. You're the co-host, Taylor Lewan, my co-host. I apologize. He is at training camp. We have a special. This pod is, in my opinion, on the Mount Busmore. We have Dale Earnhardt Jr. Flew to Nashville on a private jet, crazy flex. Day of, flew in, landed about 3 p.m., drove over, got here about 4, wrecked a pod with us for about 2. How long's the pod, Bloss?
2 hours and 12 minutes.
Over 2 hours. And let me tell you something, guys. You guys are going to want to pull up a lawn chair because essentially what we're doing in this episode is we're sitting around a bonfire or a little campfire, and Dale Jr. is just telling us story after story after story. If you're not big in the NASCAR culture, the NASCAR community, this is going to be an incredible episode. If you're big in NASCAR culture and you know everything there is to know about Dale Earnhardt Jr., there are questions and stories in here that I believe you have not heard. Our boy Zach Patton, General Patton, he was in the back, has listened to everything known to man about Dale Earnhardt Jr., and had a couple very detailed, insightful questions that, of course, Dale dove in on. But this pod, dude, when we got the bus, and we knew it was a Dale Earnhardt 8 bus. Clearly, you want the Joe Rogans of the world on, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. was on that short list on getting him on the bus, and I can't believe we got him here. I can't believe he flew in. We talk about our friendship because that's what we are. We're friends. Everyone learns about it. But also, before we get into the episode, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mr. Chevy himself, we are brought to you by the Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. The Silverado is strong, advanced, dependable, hardworking. The Silverado is dependable like the people who drive them, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and you. The design is big, bold, commanding. A partner with grit and determination. Anything is possible, and the Silverado is a partner in that. Tailgating, hauling, towing, off-roading, moving day, helping out your friend or family member, road trips, flying in on a private jet and picking up a rental that is a Chevy Silverado like Dale Earnhardt Jr. did. It can do it all, bro. Go to a Chevy dealership near you. Let them know the boys sent you. As you've seen in the past, a couple, one person we know in particular got a free trailer hitch from his local dealership. But go to a Chevy dealership near you. Let them know the boys sent you video, do all this stuff. Keep sending us the tweets. Keep sending us the photos. It's been amazing. The strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Also, before we dive into this episode, we have some merchandise that we've released. This hat that I'm wearing that you guys see, Smashville, those Smash hats that are out there in Nashville representing the hockey team. We got them made in the boys version of it. Our Hawaiian shirts are the boys, live dudes, neon sign themed. We also have the USA themed, red, white, and blue, America, Bussin', and for the boys. You could go get them at the Barstool merch store. That's barstoolsports.com/merch. Anything else, Bloss? Any other housekeeping? Yeah, Feeding Nashville, the concert happened. By the time you listen to this, the concert happened yesterday. I'm sure it went miraculous, unbelievable. We're going to have more Under the Hoods dropping for behind-the-scenes footage with Tyler Hubbard from Florida Georgia Line, and then also the concert itself. Speaking of Feeding Nashville, we also have a shirt at the Barstool merch store that it's like our "If you're not for the boys, you're against them." Those bad shirts that we have. We redid them and did "If you're not for the city, then you're against it." So every dollar that is raised, all the net proceeds are going to go to Feeding Nashville. So if you want to buy a shirt, be charitable, go buy the, if you're not for the city, you're against it. Obviously, you don't even have to be from Nashville. If you want to buy it, rep your own city. But all proceeds are going to feeding Nashville. So let's dive into this episode. It's an absolute banger. You're welcome for it. Go follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars, leave comments for the boys.
Was I supposed to wait?
Cheers.
Cheers,
fellas.
Cheers, boys. Cheers, boys. Hey, I think
no doubt.
it's like one of those situations like, you know how you said you wish you would have went and saw Willie Nelson? Like that's one regret you have.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to crack open a beer with Dale Earnhart Jr.
No question.
And not have a little drink.
Yeah. First question, how's it feel to be a legend, Dale?
How does it feel to be a legend?
Yeah.
That I never thought of myself as a legend. I was the son of a legend. Now I do know that. It was kind of amazing to grow up in that house and see all the things that he was doing and all the people that pulled for him and cheered for him and going to races and going to victory lane and being this kid that just had all access. You know, you could just go through any gate, through any part of the track you wanted to go to. And I ran around those tracks like they were a playground. And let's go watch the cars racing 1 and 2 for a while. Let's go down to turn 3 and 4 and watch them. Let's go into the garage area and look at the car that just wrecked. You know, and you could just do it all. Go up in the suite. Let's eat the food. You know, and then when Dad wins, we go to victory lane.
Yeah.
So it was pretty awesome. And I just always wanted to. I wanted to race, but I didn't know how. I didn't know, like, there's no like college level. There's no high school racing. You know. And so I'm like, well, how in the hell do I race? Like I'm 13, 14 years old. I'm like, I don't know how to start. What do I do? And one day, me and my brother, I was probably 14 or 15 years old. Me and my brother, Kerry, he's older than me. We're hanging out around this picnic table in my dad's shop. He had a picnic table and where all the gossip went on. And he threw down this newspaper. And it was a Charlotte Observer sports page, and they had this picture of this guy with this street stock car. And my dad said, "You boys ought to read this article." And it was about a new series they were starting at a track called Concord Motor Speedway. It was about 30 minutes up the road. All we had to do was go get a car out of the junkyard and put a roll cage in it, and we could race. And so,
Safety first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that
roll cage, man. You're solid.
All these years I'm thinking like I couldn't crack the code. It was this complicated, impossible thing. And Dad just said, right there's the answer. Do that. Yeah. You know,
why do you think it was like cracking the code if you, like you say, you're the son of a legend? And I like, obviously, what you can say whatever you want about yourself. You're obviously a very humble guy. What you've done for the sport also, the whole Earnhardt family is, and that's very cool. And you're a very humble guy, but like, why did it seem so difficult for you to get in it, knowing that your dad was who he was? You weren't one of those kids that was like, I can get in there because I'm,
my
junior.
dad.
Or like, why isn't he showing me where some of these races are? Like, he obviously knows where something
It
is.
sounds, he just puts a paper down. He's like, just do that then.
Looks like you can do this.
Dad would always say, he would just say, like, I wasn't always like in his, I wasn't always going, hey, what do I do? How, I wasn't with it.
Yeah.
I was just going to school and trying to get C's and going home and doing whatever my friends were doing. And I loved racing, but I didn't maybe show it as much as he wanted me to. And he would always say, you need to show some initiative. And he used initiative that was the word.
Yeah.
You need to be determined, show some initiative. Showing no initiative.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what does that mean? How do I show you initiative? Right? What does that even mean to you? And he's like, if when I was your age, I was in a shop sweeping the floor. I was cleaning tools up, putting them back in the toolbox.
Classic dad.
I'm like, damn, that sucks. That sounds sucky.
Yeah.
That don't sound fun. That's a long ways from driving.
Yeah.
Like if driving's up here, sweeping the floor is like way down here.
No question.
And I got to go all the way through that what are all the things that have to happen before I finally get to drive? It just seemed like it was so far away, and he was less than impressed, with my initiative and my passion for it, right? I wasn't outwardly expressing that to him, and he didn't think that I really was even into it. And he's like, well, I'm not wasting my time unless you start showing me that you're into it. And he made it sound like, but you got to do all this other stuff before you ever get to drive. And I'm like, wow, I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to get there. He just made it seem like it was an impossible thing.
Sounds like a Mr. Miyagi type of thing.
That's what I was just thinking, the wax on, wax off. Why do I got to clean these tables?
Finally, you're bitching and complaining to him. Show me wax on, wax off. And you start doing it.
Seems like one of those like classic tough-nosed dads that were kind of like hard to please. Like there was always that tough love with the son and the dad.
Yeah, he was pretty tough. And his nickname at the racetrack was the Intimidator. And he was absolutely terrifying, at home. And I mean, I remember, I said either I said the word shit or I dropped an F-bomb at my buddy's house. I thought it was just me and him, and I'm playing on this. He had this wicked little video game machine like before Nintendo.
Right.
And I was playing this little football game on it, and something happened. I said shit or F-bomb or something, and his dad happened to be walking in the front door, and he looked at me and he goes, "You need to get home." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And so I went home. And a couple hours later, Dad comes pulling in, and my buddy up the road, that his dad and my dad were great friends too. Well, he had told Dad what all went down. Dad comes walking in the bedroom already pulling the belt off.
Oh, damn. God damn.
Not even, and I'm looking at the door, and the way the room's laid out, he's kind of there's a point to where on his way to me, I can get to the door. And
which is only going to make it so much worse.
I got to the door and out down the hall and out the front door, across the front yard, across the street, and out into this hayfield and over this erosion ditch, and dove into the ditch and just laid there for like 6 hours. And I peeked over that ditch, and I'm like, he come out the front door, and he's looking around. He goes back inside, and I'm like, man, I ain't getting no whooping today.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Tomorrow.
Not today.
Yeah.
And, cause I mean, he was that kind of dad, he didn't, I got a few whoopings, not many, but when that belt come off,
you knew it was on.
He was so upset. Yeah, it was on.
So what happened when you got back home?
No whooping. Like
he calmed down, he cooled off.
Yeah. And I don't think I ever got one after that, but I remember the whoopings.
Yeah.
Right. There weren't many, but the ones I got, I remember them, and I know exactly what I did wrong. I'll never forget that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And, imagine getting a belt from Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn
The Intimidator.
tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
That's awesome. Yeah. So when you went back in the house, what was his? He was like, "Hey, how's it going? Have some supper. Let's sit down."
Like, let's talk about. Was there a lesson
or what's the deal?
He we had a conversation about the word I used and how I need to behave and that I better not make that mistake again.
Right.
Yes, sir. Intimidator.
Yeah.
Any kids listening, all you gotta do, run out the front door, lay in a ditch for 6 hours, let your old man cool off, and it's gonna be all right.
I got a story like that, but it still ended up at the end. Like,
yo, for real. Like,
it was like hours after, and he's waiting for me. Like, all right, well, we're gonna do this. You just gotta.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I hold some guilt for making that escape, but I just had to do it.
Why do you think you hold guilt from it?
I don't know why. I feel like I didn't get what I deserved, kind of thing. I don't know what, like I skipped out on a deserved punishment, and I never, and I think that's why I remember that story, is because I feel like, but it is what it is. I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I didn't want it.
No question. Well, it seems like you got exactly like, you learned a huge lesson.
Yeah.
And it's the first story you told on this bus,
to
right?
figure that out, right?
Yeah, it didn't take many comments for you to get in your head to that specific story.
Yeah.
I was listening to
cool.
the Joe Rogan pod. This was probably like a couple years ago.
Oh,
And
yeah, I remember
you were
that.
talking about like a bucket of shit story. There's like a bucket of something.
Yeah,
and you like,
yeah. I was so talking to when I'm talking about not showing my dad initiative. So to be clear, like around 1997, 98, I think that I started to do the things that he hoped I would do in terms of making him proud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every parent wants their kid to rise to the occasion, excel in whatever it is they love,
Absolutely.
right? And I wasn't doing none of that. And I was a C student.
I hate cutting you off, but what were you doing at the time? Like, if you were so into racing, were you just kind of hang out with your buddies and doing whatever?
Yeah. Me and my buddies walked around the neighborhoods shooting birds with BB guns and being idiots, right? And I played video games and didn't want, I did want to go hang out with him. I did want to go to the shop, but when I went to the shop, I hung out with my buddy down the street and we got in trouble, right? We went to the Dairy Queen I didn't mess with cars. I wasn't sweeping the floor, cleaning the tools, right? And so now if he wanted me to go to the race, I love that. But when I got there, I'd take off and go hang out with my buddy. And we was going to go eat some junk food or a cheeseburger or, and he'd never see me. I was having fun, and he wanted me to be interested in the cars, be interested in learning how to work on them, seize any opportunity I could to work on them, to learn about them. And I was just not doing that. And I was just a decent student in school, really not even decent. And I wasn't an athlete. I had no achievement, none, year on year on year on of just not getting anywhere. And I used to draw a lot, and I used to draw race cars a lot. And I think that he and my stepmom Teresa thought that, man, maybe he's into being an artist or something. So this is kind of, I came home from school one day and I walked into my bedroom and there was a bunch of art stuff, like papers and pens and all the things, right? If you were going to go to college, right? They had all the stuff. They bought it. And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, well, we thought you might want to, we think we would encourage you to go to this art school. It's a local school and we think you'd really enjoy it. We don't know what you're thinking about when you graduate from high school, where you're going to go, what you want to do, but maybe this is it. I'm like, hell no, I don't want to be an artist. What gave y'all that opinion? Yeah. Like, I want to race, man. Like, what in the hell? Right? I was so upset.
What do you not get?
Yeah. And anyways, finally, I started to do well and actually, starting to get some races where I ran pretty good. And then Dad came around, and me and him started having conversations where he was less preachy. He was less disappointed, and it was more like, so what happened in the corner down there and you spun out? Did you realize what you needed to do there? Kind of those things where we're starting to tutor and talk and I'm learning. And
that's very cool. That must have been a really cool, like, for you to see that development for sure.
I went down to Myrtle Beach and I was racing and I would, this same guy for like 3 weeks in a row, I would get underneath him and the guy didn't care. If he had a car underneath him, he was still coming down to go in the corner to the bottom. And he'd cut you off over and over and over. And that was the way he raced. We didn't even get mad. The rest of the people that raced there were like, that's the way Ed races. Just be ready. If you're going to pass him, you better be up to his door. Side by side when you get in the corner or he's coming down. And so every time I would get underneath him, he'd come down and I'd spin out. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I cannot pass this guy. Yeah. And I keep spinning out. And my dad's like, all right, he's not going to my races. Dad didn't go to my races, but I would tell him about it. And he's like, next time he comes down, as soon as y'all are about to have contact, slam on the brakes, and it plants the nose of your car, and keep the wheel straight. Don't turn the wheel, and it'll spin him out. And damn it, I mean, literally, I'm in the same situation the next weekend, and I did that thing, and it worked the way Dad said it would work. And so, I mean, from that moment on, we started having, you know, the conversations I wanted to have, you know, with him my whole life, instead of just hearing about how much trouble I was in, or how I pissed him off about this or that and the other, or how I needed to do this better, or be
How excited were you to tell him about that situation once you did it?
Pretty excited.
Yeah, I bet, man.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It was good. It was good. There was a lot of little moments like that early in my career when I wasn't just his son, you know, because when I was around my dad, it was at the shop or at the farm. All of that's kind of the same place, and he always had his guys around, his buddies, the employees, or whatever. And they were always, you know, 5 o'clock. Everybody met at the picnic table and they drank beer. Then they're gonna go ride around the farm and look at deer and just talk and BS. And I was just always the son, right? I was just always tagging along, and I wasn't in the conversations, and they weren't asking me any questions or what I thought about this or what I thought about that. I was just there, keep your mouth shut, don't talk to nobody unless somebody talks to you, kind of thing. But then it changed when I started racing better.
Did you understand that naturally, or were you told that at one point? That you were like, hey, don't really talk unless you're spoken to. Just kind of the way it was.
Yeah. Just hear that, hey, don't talk unless spoken.
Dude, it was like,
listen, it's kind of, it can be like that sometimes.
It's a look your parent or your dad gives you.
Yeah.
Like, you know not to, this, you know, you didn't get too full of yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yo, I hope you guys are enjoying the episode. As you're watching this episode, don't forget to like and comment. Don't forget to do real comments in the YouTube, boys, and leave real ass reviews. But shout out Georgia Boot, the world's most comfortable boot. Are we able to go get those boots out there? JP or Jablas, are you guys able to go? We can just do it right now. I'll just start dabbling. I'll just start saying the ad read, and by the time it comes back on, I'll open this door for you. But shout out Georgia Boot, the world's most comfortable boot. Georgia Boot is America's hardest working boot. And for over 80 years, Georgia's been making boots that work as hard as you do. Tough enough for your job, cool enough for everything else. And speaking of cool, I'm about to show you these boots Georgia Boot made for us. But Georgia Boot makes super good looking and super comfortable boots. So comfortable, you never want to take them off. Oh, thank you, Blossy. Boom, right here. These bad boys. I dropped a little photo the other day on Instagram, and everybody's like, yo, how do I buy these? I have no clue. I just knew that Georgia Boot wanted to make the hardest working boot for the hardest working podcast. I like looking good. And even when I'm working, these boots do just that. They look good and work hard. These boots will hold up in any condition without sacrificing comfort. Great looking boots that are widely comfortable at a price you can afford. Whether you're working on your feet all day, working around the house, grilling out with your friends or your family, these boots won't sacrifice, again, comfort or style. Georgia Boot offers the best work boots, wedges, and loggers around. Whether you need a waterproof boot, steel toe, soft toe, square toe, Met guard, non-puncture shank, non-slip sole, they've got it all, dude. Look at this beautiful thing. Bussin' with the Boys, Barstool, Georgia Boot. It just all makes sense. Head over to georgiaboot.com and use code BUSSIN for 20% off. Do you feel like winning? Like in your mind, like you're thinking, all right, like I know I can be a good racer. Like, and once I win, I'll start getting like, you know, maybe the old man will start noticing and we'll start having that relationship. Was that something that was kind of like a motivator to earn that? Or like,
always,
you're like, finally, now I'm going to get a relationship with my old man because I'm winning now.
I started seeing the racing creating that relationship. And so I wanted to do whatever I could do to get more of that relationship from him. Right. And so I started, you know, winning and all those things were, not to be so cliche, but I wanted him to be proud and happy. That was way more important than a trophy or anyone else patting my back. Right. And so he was absolutely the main motivation for me early in my career. You know, when he passed, that was gone. I mean, it was gone. And I had to figure out another thing to motivate me, right? I had to find other things that got me out of bed and got me fired up about racing. But for the longest time, it was trying to impress him, man. I mean, this guy's done everything. He's won all these championships, and he's hard to impress.
Yeah.
And you're doing the very thing that he's the best at. You can't do really. What can you do that he's never seen or thinks is cool, right?
But everybody thinks like, oh, you're Dale's son, like, you know, and thinks he's awesome. It's
So there's a big feeling of like, did you feel like you were in his shadow your whole life?
No, I didn't.
That way?
I always read about that. I always seen that written, you know.
Yeah.
And I felt like other people saw me in his shadow, but it was a hell of a place to be.
Yeah.
It was
breezy.
Awesome. Hell yes.
Yeah, breezy.
I mean, no lie. Like, I understand, and I'm first to admit, like, being his son opened tons of doors wide open and made a lot of challenges for an average guy trying to get in the sport much easier for me. And I had like a built-in fan base before I ever accomplished anything on the track. With my last name, they were expectations, but they also was support that I hadn't earned at that point. You know? So the benefits, were way better than what negatives came with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just didn't know. I mean, when you go into, this has never been a situation for me, right? My dad didn't play football or anything like that. So I never had to like, felt the need to overcome or impress him that way. My dad played college ball for a second, but when you spend your whole life kind of feeling out like, how can I get dad to notice how good I'm doing at these things? I didn't know if once you got into NASCAR, if it was like, I don't know, this thought of like, I want to. Did you ever want to up him? Did you ever want to like beat him?
Yeah.
Like I want to be my own person.
Yeah,
like,
I want to be my own.
That's
shadow's a tough word to use because it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds negative. But I'm saying like once you're in that thing with him, there was no like that's dad. Dad's got to win. Like you wanted to beat your dad.
We went to Japan. I had raced in the Xfinity series, which is kind of like college level, or it's like AAA, and the next step's the Cup Series where Dad's at. I won the championship, and so I got an invitation to race in an exhibition in Japan with Cup racers and Dad.
Uh-huh.
And it would be the first time I'd ever be on the track with him. And when I got to Japan, we flew all the way over there, and I'm sitting on pit road, and I'm waiting on Dad because I want to follow him out on the track because I'd never seen him from that vantage point. It was like following. I mean, I don't like to compare him to other icons because I don't know how people feel about it, but it's like walking behind Muhammad Ali as he goes to the ring, right, and climbs in. That's a hell of a vantage point that a lot of people would love to have. Being in the ring when Ric Flair climbed into it, right?
Yeah.
Being able to see that moment when he climbs in with that robe on at a big event across some dusty roads, right? I mean, just that moment of that energy. So I know it was just practice, but I've never seen the Black 3 car. I've never seen the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. I've never looked out my windshield and seen him, right?
Yeah.
I've raced against all these other guys. And so I remember that he pulls out on the track and I followed him out there, and I'm doing nothing. I'm like not in game mode. I'm not in focus of what my car's doing. I'm just like, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
It's him.
That's so cool. That's so cool. You viewed your dad like that.
I'm like kind of smiling as he's saying, I'm like, man, that's fucking awesome.
I couldn't believe he was in there steering that car. Couldn't believe it. And then 2 days later, like we practiced, qualify. 2 days later in the race, we're banging doors and I'm pissing him off and he's mad. So
you do a little extra for him too when he got to him.
So this is how it kind of worked out. I ran really good, and he ran like 6th to 8th the whole day. It's an exhibition, and he's just kind of going through the motions. He didn't have a great car, and he knew it. And he's just kind of like, hey, we're here to put on a show, and it is what it is, right? I'm like, hell no, man, I'm here to win.
This is it.
I'm gonna wheel this car to victory, right? This is my chance. And so I'm racing my guts out way over my head, but I got up toward the front and got up to second at one point, and I bounced off the wall being too crazy. And anyways, late in the race, we're both running around 5th and 6th, and we had a caution, and I had a chance. Everybody has a chance to come on, put a set of tires, and it's a little bit faster with new tires. And I said to my crew chief, Tony Jr., my cousin, he's my cousin too. We're about a year apart, really close. And I said, hey man, let's come get some tires and see what happens. We ain't gonna win like this. Let's put some tires on and see what happens. So he's like, all right, we ain't got no tires, but your dad's got a set in his pit. I'll see if I can get them. So our pits are side by side.
Yeah, side by side. It wouldn't be an issue if he gave it to you or not.
Yeah, our pits are together, right? We're kind of teammates, right? We got the same sponsor. It's this we had this Coca-Cola production thing. We did the photo shoots together. We're like this team, right?
Yeah.
And so Tony Jr.'s on the pit box, and he's like, hey, to Richard Childress, whose dad's Carl, and he's like, y'all gonna pit and get them tires? Richard's like, we ain't coming. Dale ain't coming. He's just gonna finish this out.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna pit. You mind if we have those tires? Take them. No problem. Okay, here we come. Turn down pit road, put them on. Dad don't know what all this is going on, and I don't even know where the tires come from. I just come down pit road and get tires. And so I go back on the track, and I lined up like 10th, and there's a real short 5-lap sprint to the end, and you got to go. You can't lift, you can't check up for something. You got to go.
What does check up mean?
You can't lift. If there's something happening in front of you and you check up off the gas or lift off the throttle, it'll take you another lap to build up your momentum, and it's a lap that's gone. And if with 5 laps to go, you just don't have time to be waiting on things to happen in front of you. You just got to just go for it, right? So the green flag drops, and I got things happening. I'm passing a couple cars, and I get to Dad really quickly. I get up beside him down the back straightaway, and we go into turn 3 and 4. And I'm going by him. I have the faster car, the new tires. He saw me coming. He knows I'm quicker, and we're coming up off of turn 4, and he's hanging on my right rear quarter panel as we're coming off the corner. And traditionally, in a situation like that, you want the guy that's in Dad's position to just let you go. You're faster, you're coming through, but if he stays there, I can't really finish the corner. I can't get all the gas down. It's going to slow me down on the straightaway. We're going to run down the next straightaway side by side when I could be trying to pass the next car. It was going to hold me up. And so I squeezed him into the wall, and we hit, and his nose slid up under my bumper, and now he has me in a bad position, and he knows it. And so he's picked my rear tires up off the ground, and he's steering my car like a forklift down the straightaway.
Shake and bake.
Well, he could have just let you go.
He should have let me go.
Should have or could have?
He could have,
but
he didn't.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm like, dude, you only got an inch on me, and you could just let me go, and I could be on my way. And we banged, and then he's got me lifted up off the ground, and he's turned me sideways down the straightaway, and my car's doing this to the flag stand, and he lifted and let me go. But he was mad, right? And so, but I thought it was over. I go on, I pass another car too, and finish like 5th or something. And he's 8th. He's a couple spots back. So the race is over, and I'm like, that was badass, and I beat my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes,
100%.
And he knows I beat him. This shit just happened, right? And so it was really cold, but I remember they had it was in the middle of the winter. They had inside the track these little rented cubicles, like trailers, like you see on job sites, and each driver or team had one, and me and Dad were sharing one. I go into the one that we have. It's cold as hell outside. I go in there, and I'm going to change clothes, and I sit down, and I'm changing clothes, and there's this big folding leg table in front of me. And I'm sitting there, and I'm pulling off my shoes and taking my uniform down, and Dad comes in and sits down, and I just look at him, and he isn't making eye contact with me, and I know he's not.
He's mad.
He's bad. I look at him, and he's bending over and pulling his shoe off, and I go, And so as soon as I looked down, he threw his shoe freaking hard as he could, and it went right over my head as I bent down to get one of my shoes off. If I hadn't have bent down, it'd have hit me.
Yeah.
It hit the wall behind me. It was like, pow!
Yeah.
And I looked back up, and he was bending down to get the other shoe. And somebody opens the door and says, "Hey, Junior, they need you out here for an interview." And I'm like, "Thanks, I'm going."
Yeah, out of there.
Hey,
Yeah,
sees the front door back from childhood. I'm fucking
he's
out of
dead.
there, dude.
We never talked about it. And
You never talked about
never
that.
talked about it.
Really?
Never talked about
Sounds like your father really didn't say a whole lot.
it. No.
He kind of
Just
just
the Intimidator.
just like was like a caveman, grunted and pointed at things for you. And you got it. You're like, yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need a Bud Light?
We interrupt this episode for another ad read from our boys at Roman. Get Roman. Most guys have different ways to last longer, but thinking about baseball or your grandma or your grandpa doesn't always work. The folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman swipes, the secret to longer lasting sex. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance in your head or counting backwards from 10, no need to do that anymore. Now we have swipes to make us last longer. Roman swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast acting, but don't require any prescription. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipes packet is small enough unmarked packaging, and each swipes packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. And this is true. When Roman was sponsoring the boys, they obviously shipped us some product. They did so. My in-laws were in town. They didn't even notice it on the table because it's in some nice black packaging where you don't even know who it's from. Go to getroman.com/bussin to get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/bussin. Back to the episode. But hey, remember, do comments in the YouTube.
We had run-ins after that on the racetrack. We were at Bristol one day. It's my first cup race at Bristol in 2000. Bristol's a high banked concrete half-mile track, and you run there about 15, 16-second laps.
Mm-hmm.
It's silly fast, and it's wild to race. And so I just knew, I'm like, I'm going to tear up a bunch of stuff today. It's just going to happen. There's no
Tear a bunch of stuff like
I'm
you're
gonna wreck.
going to mess your car up.
I'm going to wreck my car. This is a 500-mile race in this tiny bull ring, and I'm young and dumb.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes today.
Yeah, you're Ricky
just
Bobby
knew.
out there. You
Yes.
just want to go fast, get after it.
Just knew.
How much do you love that movie or hate it? Sorry, side
I like
note.
it.
You like
I got a story about that.
All right, I love it.
Stories for days, baby.
Hey,
I love
listen,
it.
you're the best interview
I know.
ever. We just sit here. It's like I'm sitting here and I'm really just enjoying your company. Like I wish there was a fire pit right here.
how
We're like
Yeah.
smiling as it's going.
And like eventually he'll
That's
just look
how
at us
this
and
is
be like,
supposed to work.
guess it's over. Yeah, 100%. Sometimes you get guys on here. And
Taylor and I'll stop and we'll look at each other like-
then me and Will will be
You're like-
talking, hoping the guy
Yeah.
comes into it.
Yeah, like 3-word answers.
Yeah, you're like, all right, well, this is going downhill fast. But no, sorry, keep going. I don't want to kill your
Well,
vibe because I'm loving every second of this.
We're at Bristol, and I qualified in front of Dad, and beside me is a friend named Elliott Sadler, and he's on the inside and I'm on the outside, and Dad's behind us. Well, me and Elliott are talking, just about to get in our cars. Dad walks up and goes, "All right, boys, Bristol's tough. Long race. Take it easy now. Don't tear your stuff up. You can wreck your stuff early. Long day." We're like, "Yes, sir." I mean, I still think in my head, I hear you, but I am totally going to ruin this.
Yeah.
And
You knew, you were
Yes.
conscious of the chaos that was about to go down.
yes. And so, all right, first lap, we're going down in the turn. Green flag comes out. We're running about 3 or 4 corners, and we go into turn 1, and Dad runs in the back of Elliott Sadler. Elliott Sadler gets loose and like sideways overcorrects up the racetrack right into me. Wow! Me and Elliott go smashing into the wall. Race is over for me, for
That's
Elliott. And it was
that's
Dad's
it.
fault, right? So
So your guy at the boot when he's coming back in the
I
pit.
come down. Well, they drag me and Elliott's cars into the garage, and my team goes to work on my car. We end up fixing it, and we fix it and repair it, and we go back out, and we're like 100 laps down. Like all these laps have passed, right? As we're working on our stuff. First time Dad comes by, he comes by me, and I just turn the wheel to the right and just laid my right front tire all down the side of his car as he's going by. And he sent a message.
What are people thinking when they're watching this? Like, look at these two spatting. Like the family members getting after
He
it.
sends this message like, "Dude, you better tell him to cut it out. He's going to find another ride home."
Can you talk to
I
other
can't
drivers?
talk to other drivers, but he sent a message via his team to my team to tell me to stop it.
It's a game of telephone.
Yeah,
They can tell you whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but we had other moments kind of like that. But I mean, when the funny thing about it being in a race car is that the race car turns into for lack of a better word, a bit of a weapon. Sometimes you get so angry and you're like, I can take this car and run into your car.
Right.
I'm gonna do that. Boom. Before you have a thought to, before you have a moment to think twice about it and calm the hell down, sometimes you do that on the racetrack. And even if it's your own dad, you're like, you did this to me.
Yeah. 100 laps down. Where was he in the race when?
He's like running top 10, cruising along.
So he's about to ruin his race. He's about to ruin the race.
He's out there cruising around like, hey, man, sorry, I've already forgot what happened.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Aside from your dad, have you ever gotten that like mental to where you're like, I'm gonna wreck this car?
Another guy. Wreck another guy.
Like a different guy, a different person.
Yes.
Has it happened?
Kyle Busch wrecked
Say
me.
a name. Yeah,
there we go. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Like, is it a rivalry? Is this a known rivalry that you're talking? Okay.
So Kyle and me were really big rivals at this particular point in my career, and he.
What point is this?
2008.
And you guys are big rivals. Is it a dislike rivalry, or is it like, hey, when we're on the track,
it's a hate?
Oh, we don't like him.
Don't like him.
Yeah, Zach was probably back there like, you're an idiot, Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea.
I know he's
Zach's
like
the biggest
Kyle Busch,
NASCAR
like
fan
rivalry.
ever. So we just
didn't like each other, and so
was there an incident?
No, so
you guys at the bar, or Ricky,
from your side of the story,
Ricky Bobby, Ricky Bobby and the guy, he may try to make you say you love crepes or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
First broke his arm.
So So first off, let me tell the Ricky Bobby story. So
yeah, I'd love to hear it.
All right, Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights comes out, or it's coming out, right? And we're going to get to see it before it goes to theaters. And we're in Sonoma Racing in California, and they're like, "Yeah, you're going to go over to what's the name of that place? George Lucas's ranch."
Oh, fucking Star Wars?
Skywalker Ranch.
Holy shit.
You're going to go over to
I know.
You're going to go over to Skywalker Ranch and watch it. And we're like, damn, all right.
Yeah.
So that's cool. What does that mean? So we drive in and it's beautiful. And
is this all the guys are going there?
My team. Me and my team.
Okay, yeah. Because were you in the movie?
I had a little tiny thing.
Yeah, a little thing you asked for an autograph.
Right.
How was that? How many takes?
He's like, how
many takes did it? How many times were you like, hey, we got to do that again?
3 to 5.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't that many.
Professional.
Yeah.
I like that.
That or we just weren't going to get any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting progressively worse with each take.
Like, hey, let's just shut it down.
So we're driving into this place and they're like, yeah, they make movies here. There's a bunch of movies. So we're walking in the building and there's all these movie theaters and there's all these little rooms for editing and they basically sit there and watch they work on these films from the point of view of the movie goer, right? And so they're editing and creating these films in that atmosphere of a movie theater. And which was really cool. It was a big complex. You might imagine they're sitting in front of a computer in an office, right? Editing this film. But at some point they actually get into a movie theater and complete the editing process or whatever and do all the audio and all that. So anyways, it's really neat. And we sat down in this one theater and there's probably about 30 seats in it, and probably about 10 rows of seats. And, maybe there's more than 30 seats, but it just was a small miniature sort of size theater room. And we sit down and I choose a seat sort of in the middle.
Right.
There's
you're
only
front of the theater guy, you're back of the theater guy.
Middle.
Oh, middle. I thought you meant as far as a row.
I'm like, I don't know if up there's better or back there's better. I'm just going to go right in the center.
Yeah.
And there's only about 12 of us. We're only about 10% of the seats in this thing. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of empty seats and we're sitting there waiting, and right before the thing comes on, George Lucas comes and sits down behind me. And
I'm chilling. I'm being chill. Right? I'm being chill.
Yeah.
Dude, I was shocked to see him, right? And had never thought I'd ever meet the guy. But what is he doing watching Talladega Nights, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Why does he care to watch this movie? There's millions of movies he can be watching.
Yeah.
But and I'm watching, I'm kind of side-eyed, and I'm like, man, he's chuckling at that. That's pretty, I think that's funny too. We're like,
we have the same sense of humor. We might be best friends after this. We could talk about the movie and maybe kindle something.
He's not even like listening to the movie. He's just listening.
Waiting for him to laugh and you laugh a little harder so he knows.
I'm like, damn, he thinks this is good. I think it's good too. I mean, I like it, but damn, he likes it. It was weird, man. But it was, and he, after everything was done, he was very nice to everybody. Hey, yes, thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's always
That was cool.
It's always
That sounds like
interesting.
that's an awesome
It
deal.
was insane.
That is so badass.
Did you get to see like a Yoda figure?
No, none of that was happening. There was
He just has it in his
with
pocket.
the Skywalker
Well,
Ranch, you know what I
yeah,
mean? You
yeah.
don't know if like
It
like
wasn't
some
like
Yoda
the
figures.
The actual Star Wars
No, not
characters are
the
walking
actual
around?
Star. I'm talking about just a figure sitting there.
It's not
You know what I
like,
mean? Like a gnome.
Yoda's
An
not a real thing.
amusement
Yeah, no,
park.
like a gnome.
Yeah, no, Yoda's not a real thing, a real being.
I'm aware. I was trying to help you be
okay.
aware of that. I didn't know
Got
if you had a thing.
No.
I know how you are about your Star Wars.
Yeah, I
I've
wish
never
it was
really seen
real.
Star Wars, but I'm sharing the enthusiasm with both of you right
Yeah.
now. I think it's
I'm not a massive fan, but I know him. I know who he is.
No,
right?
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Being a filmmaker's got to be one of the most difficult jobs to do because you're literally praying that people like it, and if it's like your hopes and dreams are on other people's opinions,
Sure.
God, that's got to be a tough life.
And
to
when
live.
you're like making a certain decision that you might think is cool for a scene, and you might have just one opinion next to you, like say I'm making something, I'm like, and I think it's dope, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? You're like, yeah, but maybe this, and your one opinion is like, oh man, maybe everyone feels that way.
yeah,
And then you change it, you're like, well, I was gonna do this, and everybody's like, oh, you should have kept it that way. And you're like, fuck.
are you a Quentin Tarantino fan?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he just did a pod with Rogan. And they were talking about a specific
I
scene
listened to
in
that.
True Romance.
Yeah.
Not True Romance. Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
The torture scene in that. Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
And the scene where he cuts the guy's ear off and stuff like that. And Quentin was like, this is happening. And a couple guys were like, hey, listen, if you put this scene in the movie, you put your margin for the people that are going to come watch it.
Right.
Because it was like
It's big.
after like the 80s or like some decade.
Yeah, like the 80s where
it was
there's
more
always a
PC.
superhero thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
that was a good
nice.
pod.
Is it? I haven't listened to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Charles like, who is this talking? I'm like, it's Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, this is my favorite director.
Yeah.
By far.
Sorry, Dale. We had a
Amazing.
little.
Yeah. It was a good movie.
Yeah, good movie. He makes a lot of good films.
What story were we headed to before the Ricky Bobby?
Oh, Kyle Busch.
Y'all wanted to
Kyle
know about
Busch, the rivalry.
this
You were
is
trying
the
to kill
most
him.
Told story.
This isn't told a lot.
I tell this one a lot. But
Oh, you do?
we'll
Then
dive
you-
into it. You know,
Never
I've
mind.
learned.
Tell something
Yeah,
else.
no,
I'm just
no.
kidding. No, I want to know.
I learned that you got a new audience every time you're in front of the mic, so
Yeah.
it's never the same. So
Have you ever told your side of the story about why you hate him? Why you hated him?
yeah, so I don't know. Maybe
about today?
maybe we'll tell a little different this
Do we
time.
still hate him now?
No,
Oh, you don't hate him now?
no, he's great.
All right.
Oh,
right.
well. He's
I'll hear the
great.
story.
Like, do you guys go to dinner?
No,
Okay, so he ain't great.
well, he's fine.
That's better.
There we go. Now we're
That's
getting
much
somewhere.
better.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're racing against each other. He races for Rick Hendrick, and I race for Dad. And he was a rookie, and he did something at a racetrack, and I said to the media that Kyle made a mistake, and he'll figure it out. And he took offense to that.
He's a
And
rookie. How you've been in the game for 8 years now?
Maybe not that long.
Right.
This is before that,
Okay.
but I've been doing it for 6 years, maybe.
Okay.
And but anyway, somebody asked me a question. And I just said, he made a mistake, and he'll figure that out.
What was the mistake?
It's like he caused a crash or something, or a couple guys ended up crashing because of something he did. I can't read.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
And we went to that set us on that path. All right. He took offense to that, and we weren't friendly from that point on. But we didn't say anything about each other. He wasn't digging me in the media or nothing. And so there was a race at Texas. His car crashed, and there was a miscommunication between him and his team. He left the track, and the car got repaired, and they didn't have, where's he at? They need to put him back in it to go finish a few laps. And they saw me in the garage and said, hey, will you get in this car? We got like 8 laps to go. We just need you to go out there and run them the rest of this race. And I'm like, absolutely. I'm diving in this thing head first because I want to feel what kind of engine they build. It's like, man, you never get a chance to drive another team's car to feel the things about it.
What kind of car did he drive?
He drove Rick Hendrick's car, and they build their own motors, and we build our motors. And I just, they're very good. They win a lot. And I'm like, yeah, damn right, I'll drive it. And so I drove it a few laps, and when it was done, they were like, hey man, appreciate you doing this solid, and we'll see you. And that was it. Nothing. There was no, it wasn't to spite Kyle, but he was mad again, right? I drove his car, right? It's like I took his girlfriend out. And, you know what I mean? And so,
Hey, listen, that's a big reference there.
well, it
Yeah.
was a
He wrote
Took
that
her
thing
out on a
hard.
nice day, had a seafood dinner, never called her back. That type of thing.
It was I'm an old school guy where relief driving is a cool thing, right?
Yeah.
And and it happened all the time in the 70s, and I'm totally a throwback and nostalgic, and that's freaking, yeah. So I've never been asked to relief drive for somebody. Damn right, I'll do it. And he ain't from that school. And so he was like, nobody drives my car but me. Right. And so anyways, him and Rick are having some difficulties on his contracts and whether he's going to continue to drive there or not. And they decide that that's not happening. So they've made a choice, and now Rick's going out to find a driver, and he offered me a deal and I took it. And so Kyle viewed that as me taking his job. And Kyle then was now cast into free agency and had to take whatever the best option.
So he didn't have a
was.
car yet.
No.
Like they decided not to do a contract, went to you, got the contract, and he's in free agency.
Yeah. And he gets hired by Joe Gibbs. This works out tremendously for him in the short run and the long run. But he was upset at the time and was like feeling rejected by Rick Hendrick. Rick's this ultra freaking respected guy in the sport, and if you get rejected by him, there must be something wrong with you, right? And he carried that. And so when we started racing the next year, and I'm in his car and he's in the Joe Gibbs car, it was me against him. That's the way he saw it, and that's the way I kind of saw it. We're racing at Richmond. We're running first and second in the points the whole year, pretty much.
Great storyline.
He's winning he's winning a hell of a lot of races too. All right, things are going well for him. I only won at Michigan. I had a great year, but I only won the one race. I'm leading at Richmond, and it's like 4 or 5 laps to go, and I'm running the top of the racetrack. I run the high side. Kyle's right behind me, and I'm going to give him the bottom of the track. He's got more than enough room. And we go down into turn 3, and he gets loose and collects me. I wreck into the wall. He goes up the track, and he loses the lead. Another guy ends up winning the race. And in my mind, I'm like, I understand he got loose. It wasn't like he just went in there and turned right and hit me.
What does going loose mean?
Loose means like when he turned down in the corner, his rear tire started sliding, like if he was in water or ice. It was an accident, right? It was like he went in the corner hoping that his car was going to stick and he was going to pass me.
Yeah.
Right. But his car didn't stick, and the back slid, and he had to turn right to correct it, which drove him up the track into my door. And it turned me around when we hit. But it also cost him the race too. And so he's a good enough race car driver to know how to intentionally, if he was trying to intentionally crash me, he's good enough to just go in there and move me out of the way and go on and win. So I know that I know just watching by how all that went down that he didn't really intend for that to happen, but he was absolutely unapologetic. And, of course, I mean, he wasn't going to say, man, I'm sorry, that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Was bad for me. And I don't ever want to, he just let it, he didn't even say anything. Right. And kind of played it up a little bit. And now I got the media coming to me going, yeah, you just got wrecked by that guy. He's your arch rival. He's your enemy, you and him. Now the media is in love with this. Right. The media loves it every week. Right. They're going to him. Hey, Dale said this. What do you think? Well, hell with him.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle just said 10 minutes ago, to hell with you. What do you think? Right.
Yeah.
And they just going at us every week. Right. And we have these obligations to the media. We had the media obligation. You had to be there. And so they knew they were going to get a sound bite. And Kyle was not great at biting his tongue. And so if he says something, now I got to say something.
Right. Is there a fine system put in place with NASCAR? Like so you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like Ricky Bobby did.
Listen, that's the staple of this whole podcast. We're really hanging our hat on this.
We go back to Richmond later in the year, in the back end of the summer, and it's midway through the race. It's not near the end. It's not in the same scenario, but Kyle's leading and I'm running second. And I went into turn 1 and tried my hardest to put him in the wall. And I ran into the back of him, and he slid up the track and backed into the fence and spun down the track. He ended up being able to finish the race. But that was maybe the one I can say I probably intentionally wrecked somebody less. I can't count them on 2 hands. I can maybe count them on 1 hand.
Right.
in 20 years of racing, and that was one of them. And I was in the situation.
You won that race?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, probably not.
Your buddy's back there going, no,
No.
it didn't.
So, but I was
just
in
like-
I'll be honest, man. I was in the situation where, like, if I didn't wreck him, I felt like everybody was gonna go, "Oh, you're soft. Oh,
Right.
if you don't, here you are. Here's your opportunity, man. Y'all media's painted y'all into a corner as the arch rivals, and he says dirty shit about you, and you say shit about him, and now here's your chance, man. You're gonna talk the talk and walk the walk and all that." So I was like, I can't not.
Man, that media
Do
put you in a little bit of a deal, huh?
They did.
They
Fires
put
me
you in a
up.
little bit of a deal.
Hey, and we're back. Hey, comments in the YouTube. A shout out. Hey, right now, Cigars International is offering our listeners 10% off your order plus free shipping. Just go to cigarsinternational.com. Is this right? That's the call to action. That's what we start with. Either way, you're going to be using the promo code BOYS at checkout. Look, number one, shout out Cigars International. No free shout outs. Whether you're working from home or just kicking back after a long week, there's no better way to relax than with your favorite cigar. My favorite cigar is I'm going to butcher this, the Nicaraguan. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Last night, I was grilling chicken burgers. You guys saw me eating the leftovers earlier from the chicken and burgers last night. Grilling it hard. Had the Monarchs on, Air Monarch Compton, dude. And I had a stogie from Cigars International. That is my favorite vibe. I am at peace and pure happiness when I am grilling and having a stogie. And if the boys are involved and the boys are included, that just makes it that much better. Cigars International is home to the largest humidor in America. All the brands you know and love are available here, from the big top-selling national brands to the small boutique cigar makers. Cigars from Nicaragua, there it is, the Dominican Republic, Honduras, Ecuador, the Bahamas, in America, you name it, they've got it. They have great cigar deals, from their daily cigar deal to weekly specials. Their Cigar of the Month Club. Dude, I want to be in a Cigar of the Month Club very badly. I kind of want to start my own Cigar of the Month Club. However, I can do that. Cigars International, maybe we can find a way. Don't know where to start? Don't know where to start? Don't worry. They're the kings at making all-star sampler packs, like a variety pack of craft beer, but better. That lets you get a little taste of everything. Right now, Cigars International is offering our listeners 10% off your first order plus free shipping. To take advantage of these incredible savings, simply go to cigarsinternational.com and use promo code BOYS, BOYS, when you are ready to check out. That website is cigars with an S, international.com, and use promo code BOYS. Comment in the YouTube.
Yeah.
So how many exchanges with Kyle did you have in like you and I talking right now? Like face to face. Did you ever look at him and go, "Hey Kyle, fuck you, buddy"?
No.
Did you imagine if there was Twitter back then?
Oh shit.
There was one. So, and this is one I don't tell.
Let's go.
We and Kyle, you can get Kyle's version of it. It might be different.
Kyle's welcome on this podcast.
Yeah, Kyle's
he's welcome.
welcome.
This is your second time on.
Now, this isn't
so
a
he's got to know that we're
Bush-
fans.
This
We're
isn't a
bigger
Kyle
fans.
Busch bus.
You should have him
but-
on.
Yeah.
We were at Phoenix, and this is around
PIR.
Yeah. This is around 2014. Things aren't going well for me.
Mm.
I'm having a down year, pretty frustrating year. And it's practice. I'm going down the back straightaway and I'm slowing down and coming into the pits, and I get to the apron and Kyle's behind me and he's coming by. And I guess I was too close to the racetrack. He didn't like where I was at, and it was it was bothering him and his focus and his ability.
You're too close to the racetrack.
I moved.
You're in the pits.
I slowed down and got on the apron to come into the pits, and he's coming by me on the racetrack, and he didn't like something about
Sounds petty.
what I did.
Yeah.
He flipped me the bird.
Ooh.
In the car.
Yeah, out the window.
Through the net.
Yeah, he sticks it out in front of the net like this. He's like, "Hey, F you, man."
Did he get the full handout? Are they big enough to fit your hand out? Or you saw enough of a knuckle to know that's the finger?
Oh yeah, I
Jeez.
knew what it was.
All right.
And I pull into the garage, and it just sent me over the edge. So
Hell yeah.
practice ends.
Pissed off Dale. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So calm. Like you think nothing's going to bother this guy.
Yeah.
Practice
Except for if you pull a belt out. You pull a belt out, he's out of here. You know?
Yeah, the belt comes off. We're gone. so the practice ends and I debrief with my team and I'm frustrated with my car. It's just been a bad season. And then that happened and I'm going to go to my hauler and I see his hauler and I'm like, I'm going in there.
Oh shit.
And if he's in there, I'm going to confront him about it. And I walked up into his hauler, which is an 18-wheeler trailer. And you walk to the very front of the trailer and there's a lounge. And in the lounge is Kyle and his crew chief. And I know his crew chief.
2v1.
And I said, Kyle, if you ever flip me off again, I'm going to rip your head off and I'm going to kill you. I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said everything I could just say in that moment. And he's sitting there going,
you told me you were going to kill him?
Yeah.
We had to talk about that the other day.
We really did, because with Connor's telling, what's his name, I'm going to kill you. Taylor says he gets his head.
I just don't think that's that big of a deal, because it's like, I don't know, it could happen, but you're not going to kill the guy, right? You're going to knock him out, hopefully.
I don't know. He's talking about the car being a weapon at some point. You get out there, he's not in the right position.
No question.
The emotions get the best of you, dude.
So you tell this guy.
I'll tell him everything I wanted to tell him, and I'd never do that, right? That's out of character for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was to a point to where I was done. I needed to tell this guy to knock it off, right? The words in the media, the bird, the disrespect is just got to come to an end. You're gonna respect me, and you're not gonna look at me the way you're looking at me and perceive me the way you perceive me. You're gonna respect me when we're here together at the racetrack. And so I said what I had to say, and I turned around and walked out.
He didn't say a word.
Mm-mm.
God, that must have probably chapped your ass a little bit that he didn't say nothing back.
I didn't want him to respond to me.
You just said it and turned around and you walked out.
I didn't want him to respond to me, and his crew chief didn't move, and like it was what I wanted it to be.
Yeah,
I feel like that if I didn't want anything to happen to where it would have gotten physical, it probably would have easily gotten that way. It's good that nothing happened to where it became physical.
Is Kyle a big dude?
He's tall.
He's tall. But you think...
Hey, Tony.
He's not tall?
No.
He's not,
okay.
I'm tall.
You're okay. He's taller.
3 inches taller.
He's taller than me.
How tall are you?
Inches. 5'10" and a half.
10 and a half. I love that. I love the half, dude.
I love the guy after
5'10"
If you're under 6 foot, you say a half. There's halves are involved.
You get the detail.
Yeah.
No question.
How
so
big
if
are
you go looking back on it, he stood up and said, "All right, I'll kill you right now."
We would have had.
Okay, I'll kill you.
We would have had to have found out who was going to be right.
Hell yeah, I like that. So you think you could have taken him?
I don't know.
Is Tony at your side? Are you back there?
That story where you got in his car, you had to sit like crooked.
Yeah, he was pretty skinny. Yeah. I don't know.
We're rolling him.
I don't have enough
Just
fights
like
under
I
my
don't
belt
even know
to
Kyle.
know
We're rolling his ass, dude.
I don't know what my ability is.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can really fight unless you're a fighter, right? Like all of us can sit here and talk about whatever, but at the end of the day,
we fight for. We might be rolling.
There's buttons all over this chin. You know what I'm saying? You crack it. I might be still.
You roll around hard for 20 seconds. We're both tired. We're like, all right, hey guys, get up.
After 20 seconds, you're like, I gotta get the hell out of here.
I used to think I could fight.
We all did at one point, right?
Yeah.
At one point, we all fought.
Hey, we still do. Come on now. We're on camera.
Leo, listen. I don't know. Once I started getting kids, I was like, who am I fighting, dude?
Yeah.
I don't need my daughters to see me fighting somebody. Practice, no problem.
Yeah.
It felt good though. I was glad to do it, and it
got it
changed.
off your chest.
I think it changed our relationship. So, years later, he texted me one day and he's like, "Hey, we're at a racetrack somewhere." He's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about some race." He owns a team and I own the team. He's like, "I want to compare some things that y'all are doing with what I'm doing on my business side."
How far after?
Probably 4 years after the Richmond incident.
Okay.
4 or 5 years.
Okay, 4 or 5 years. So you guys, lines of communication after that, and the media kind of stopped. You guys obviously didn't talk. So he just had your number.
You guys are both kind of transitioning in the business world, and you guys are kind of like, respected at this point.
And then we started communicating, and then I had him on my podcast, and we talked about Richmond.
Oh,
so really? We never talked about it, and I said, "Hey, come on my podcast, and let's talk about Richmond, and let's talk about that day, what you went through, what I thought, what you thought, what I, let's be honest and be clear, and everything beyond that, all the dirt we threw on each other in the media,
yeah,
and we talked it out, and he told me." and you can get him in here and talk about that. But he was like, man, when I came into the sport and we were DEI, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, the team I was driving for at the time, we were courting him, and Rick Hendrick was courting him. He ended up going with Rick. Right. So I would see him in the garage when he was like 18 and go, hey man, you coming to drive for us? Well,
yeah.
He's a sought after, young kid with a lot of talent. And I'm like, hey, you coming with us?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know.
Right.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
And so, he was
Just
like
playing dumb.
Yeah. He's like,
do you guys have agents in the game, or you guys kind
back
of
then,
wheel your own
I
thing?
think it's probably his parents more than anything running.
Really?
I imagine. I don't know. I doubt he had an agent.
Yeah.
But he's like, man, back then I wanted to be your friend. Like you were the bud guy. You were the fun guy. He was like, I wanted to be in your group.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, I didn't know that. He's like, yeah, I hated how things took off with us and how we went down this other path. He's like, because when I was coming into sport, I was thinking, man, it's gonna be cool if I can hang out and drink beer with me.
Yeah.
I was the beer guy.
Yeah, we're having beers now.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Having beers?
No, having beer. Like, how cool is it like to have somebody when you're in the game long enough look up to you? We talk about that sometimes. Is like when you play something long enough, you have kids that are growing up and going into your world that are fans of you.
They're like, hey, you're so and so, and you're just like,
yeah.
oh,
Listen,
okay.
I'm just. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's a cool feeling for us.
It's pretty cool now. It wasn't that cool to hear that from my peers, if any of those were to ever say that. But now that I'm done and these like 20-year-olds, they're coming in the sport, and I guess because I'm 46 and I feel like I'm getting old as hell, that they even knew who I was.
Yeah, that's like rad.
They're like, man, I used to be a big Dale Jr. fan when I was 5. I'm like, well, that makes me feel old, but it's nice to know that, I'm not aged out. Like these kids that are coming into the sport don't know who the hell I am. Right.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
So we go back to the beginning of the podcast. Legend. You just let your name keeps living on.
You're returning.
There'll be an age.
I see you're returning back to the racetrack.
Well, I do run one a year. I run one race a year to scratch the itch and to smell the smells and hear the sounds. So when I'm a broadcaster for NBC, and when you're up there in the booth, all right, if you're a player and you go into the broadcast booth, you can tell the broadcast and the viewer everything that the player's thinking, right? Because you played it. You just played there. You were just down there, right? Well, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year, that gets harder because you forget exactly. You're turning into more of the broadcaster guy.
Yeah,
you're not the player anymore, right? And you're further from that. And man, I don't know if I know exactly what that guy's thinking right now. I forget that energy. I forget that sensation or that emotion. I forget that pressure. I forget that nervousness, that fear, that anxiety, all those things, right, that you have in those moments, right? And so I get in the car once a year and run one race to be reminded of all those things. So when I'm in the booth, it's right there. When I need to pull that file, it's right there. Right. When I need to draw on that moment and go, I know what that's like. I know exactly what he's thinking. It's all fresh.
That's awesome.
Well, what if you win?
Then that's badass.
Yeah, but if you win, are you going to sit there like, let's get another run at this thing?
No, I'm done, man. I raced for 20 years. I had some head injury stuff, some concussion stuff, and I felt like that I was going to the well too many times. I felt like that I was taking some risks unnecessarily. So I'm getting ready to get married at the end of 2016. We have our first little girl shortly after that. And this is like, I got this whole new life, and maybe racing ain't important anymore. And maybe, when I got hurt in 2016, I had recognizable symptoms. When most people get a concussion, you guys know this, right? So when guys get concussions, they're self-diagnosed, right? I don't see it. I don't see your concussion. Right. I had like these visual cues that you could see, right? I had balance issues and visual.
No, it was bad.
I had issues speaking and and thinking, pulling words out, just trying to form normal sentences and not being able to think of a simple word that I use every day. Right.
Yeah.
I had these issues that were frightening, man, frightening. And I thought to myself, like, I don't want to ever put myself back there again. And going to the racetrack and running every single week, you're going to crash. You cannot run a whole year and never hit anything. You're going to hit stuff.
Right.
And if I'm just hitting stuff all the time, I'm never giving myself any chance to get beyond this and get past this and get away from it. Right. And so, going back and running that one race is a risky decision. I'm particular about where that race is at as far as the track and what's the potential of a hard wreck there, and it needs to be a track I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And so, I don't go out there and race over my head like I would if I was 25 or 28, like with reckless abandon, right? I go out there and measure the risks and I have a great time. I get to experience it. And for the time being, it checks all the boxes.
Have you done like anything post racing that is like beneficial for brain stuff? Have you gone and looked at anything like IV therapies, different stuff like that?
No, so I haven't. And the only reason I think is because I haven't had anything that's triggered me to have concern. And so, when I had the problems that I was having in 2016, I'd already been to Pittsburgh to see Mickey Collins, who's a guy that works with a lot of.
Is he the main guy for the Steelers?
Yeah, he's the Steelers guy, Penguins guy, but he also worked with other racers. He's worked with a lot of people that I know, but he's worked with tons of football guys.
Yeah, I've worked with him before.
Yep. So, he helped me in 2012 get through I say small concussion, but he helped me get through an issue that didn't last long. It went away in a relatively short period of time. And so with that experience, I thought, oh man, I got this under control. Well, I got in trouble and put myself in a bad situation in 2016 with a lot of crashes and a lot getting sick after a lot of crashes. I'd be well in about 3 or 4 days and think, well, I'm healed, but I'd hit the wall 3 weeks later. And then 3 weeks after that, I'd hit something and I kept layering all these concussions together. And one day I started getting worse and worse and worse and didn't know what it was and why it was happening. And I was just going down.
God damn.
Yeah. I hadn't wrecked. I was racing. I hadn't wrecked in weeks. And I was like, what's happening to what's happening to me? I didn't wreck. What is this? Right. So finally I figured out that I needed to go see him, and we spent 8 months fixing it.
Wow.
Yeah. It was.
Did you do anything that was like out of the norm of what the usual concussion
I don't know.
protocols?
Everybody's experience seems to be different, and my treatment in 2012 was much different than in 2016 because the understanding of how to treat a concussion had changed. So when 2012 happened, they were like, no TV, no cell phones, dark rooms, sleep, silence, quiet, nothing. And in 2016, when I was like, man, I do not want to go through that. No rooms, dark rooms, no cell phones, no TV. I don't want to do that. Right. That is awful. And so I was dreading it. And when I got diagnosed, he's like, okay, here's what you do. What triggers your symptoms? And I'm like, well, going to the busy places, the grocery store, or I'd say, if I went to a concert, anywhere where there's complex environments, it freaks me out. And he's like, go do those. And I'm like, oh, okay. And
go party, go have a good time. Yeah.
So
best doctor ever.
Like drinking beer, go do that.
So they pulled me out of the race car, and now I'm at a concert, and my team, my people, my crew, my brand team, and my race team, they're like, you can't drive a race car, but you're off at a concert.
Yeah,
you're trying to get over a concussion. What are you doing? And so I would take all the people that I could take to see Mickey when I would go visit him, so he could explain to them like, hey, this is what we're doing, and he's in big trouble. And so and it was helpful, but it took a long time to get over that. And I think I retired probably about, if that never happened, I'd probably race way on into my late 40s. And I think that if I hadn't have got married and had kids, even with that incident in 2016, I might still be racing today.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't.
Puts new things into perspective, something different to live for.
So, right. So when I had only myself to live for, I would probably put myself back in that same situation. Risk, My doctor would tell me, even after 2016, he's like, you're fine. You're at no more risk than the other guys out there. And I'm like, wait, but I'm damaged, right? I've had this injury, and it seems like I would be at risk to get it more so than the guy racing the car behind me. He's like, nope, you're good. You can go race. He's like, now you can get hurt, but so can he.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get it easier than him. And I'm like, okay. So without my wife and kids, I probably would have just went right back to it. Right. And I probably would have got sick again. I probably would have got hurt again. And who knows where that would have sent me. Right. But when I got married and had kids, I was like, I don't want to be at home sick. Can't walk, can't stand, can't talk, can't see, and have a 1-year-old kid that I can't enjoy, right? Her milestones. I can't be in the moment. When you're in a concussion, I'm not telling you guys anything y'all haven't heard or know. When you have a concussion, you're in a fog. You're not in the moment. You're not in the room. You could have the most important people in your life in a conversation around a table, and you couldn't be a part of it.
Start doing the look off in the zone. Yeah.
It was awful.
You worry about CTE?
I think, I do. I don't worry about it for me. I can't live the rest of my life thinking, man, what's going to happen to me? I think that some people do live their life like that, worrying about their future, but I'm just today's good. Let's see how tomorrow is. Tomorrow's good. I'm just doing it day to day.
You've also dealt with a lot of trauma also, like just like that plane crash you talked about in the last podcast.
Yeah.
And Will's like, hey, he's flying in. It's like, I bet every time you get on a plane, there's got to be a little something in there.
There certainly is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts taking off. The engines start roaring a little bit. You're like, let's get this thing off the ground.
Grab the armrest a little.
But if you live your entire life thinking, oh, the next flight I take, you can't do that.
I can't not fly.
Yeah.
I've got to get back on a plane because there'll be things I need to go do that are important, right?
Right.
Like Bussin' With The Boys.
It's very important. This is a very important thing.
You're very welcome
for being on
I fought through the anxieties to be here.
Yeah. Transitioning into that, you're a big pioneer in bringing NASCAR to Nashville.
Man, I'm working hard at it.
Seems like everyone's really excited about it.
Yeah.
Everyone that, even people that aren't, there's just the casual fan are excited. I think people just want as many sports as possible here in Nashville.
Absolutely.
I think so. I always say that, the rising tides lifts all the ships up, and we have IndyCar coming to run the street course at Nashville. We got NASCAR at the Nashville Super Speedway. There's a push to get Nashville to the fairgrounds in town at the short track. And so, and Nashville, man, is changed so much in the last 10 years. When NASCAR left in 1984, it was a different town. And what it is today, it's where we want to be, right? We celebrate our champion here. We've had our banquet here for the last 2 or 3 years. And to me, that's a very critical, important day for our sport. It's where we celebrate everything that happened that year, right? What other day could be more important than the day you crown and recognize and celebrate your champion and all the winners and all the accomplishments. So that we do that here is great for us. It's a hell of a fit. It's perfect. And, everybody, we loved Vegas. Everybody partied hard, had a blast, but damn, I mean, Nashville's as good or better than Vegas. It has a similar vibe, but also, it's Nashville. And the other thing too and I want to say is that music component, like NASCAR and music, particularly country music, but NASCAR and music is a good marriage. And we can utilize that in ways we never were able to before.
Yeah.
We would have, the banquet is a big giant, theater, banquet table event, right? There's 500 people there, and it's like pulling teeth to get anybody really badass to come play, and really raise our level, right?
Yeah.
Get people going, damn, did you see who NASCAR had at the banquet playing? That's
Yeah.
bad. It was good, but now you got so much to choose from here in Nashville.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the banquet last year, man. I was telling all the drivers, I was calling them up. I was like, hey, all your country music friends, invite them to the banquet. Have them sitting at your table. Even if they don't play, have them there. So when the camera goes across the room, they see, this famous musician and this race car driver, right?
It brings the brand up.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It brings the brand up. Is there a difficulty with the brand of NASCAR in the last 10 years, keeping everything going in a trajectory you guys want it to go in?
Well, we had an amazing run in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Things were crazy. Souvenir business was multi-millions of dollars. All the drivers were making money in souvenirs alone. Driver salaries were going through the roof. Sponsorships were going through the roof. In 2008, I think we had over $40 million on one car.
Really?
Yeah. Rick Hendrick was probably near $200 million for his team sponsorship across
awesome.
4 cars. Yeah. it was bonkers, and the numbers aren't like that anymore. The ticket sales aren't like that anymore. They've started, for over a decade, we've been pulling seats from racetracks. If you can't sell these seats, they got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so when, instead of having 180,000 people at a race, you're now thrilled. You're happy.
Yeah.
You have 60 to 80,000.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that much of a difference.
Yeah. For some places.
Why do you think that is? Is it just
Everybody
the way
consumes,
NASCAR is viewed in a different way?
I don't think so. I think it's the way people consume content these days. I think that's, there were a million different variables that made it more difficult for fans to choose to go to a race.
Mm-hmm.
Hotel rooms, the cost to do it all, right?
Right.
The ticket prices went up, hotel gouging, everyththing got more expensive, and it became, instead of being able to go to multiple races a year, it came down to which one did we go to, right? Because we can only afford to do this once a year.
Yeah.
And so that got to be more difficult. And I think that we might have lost sight too of how to entertain someone how to entertain somebody for that weekend. Mm-hmm. So if I want you to come to a race. It's great if you walk up and buy a ticket and come to the grandstands, but I want you to drive an RV, and I want you to rent a spot,
mm-hmm.
and I want you to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I want you eating concessions all 3 days and, pumping money into the economy around the racetrack. And that got harder to do. That got harder to get people to come commit that. And for you to come do that, you need more than just the race on Sunday, right? You need a concert on Friday night and Saturday night. You need some racing on Saturdays. You need multiple forms of motorsport at the same venue.
Yeah, like a AAA league or something like that. Have boys play on Saturday.
Right. And that's going to bring you in. So it's, I think we're getting back to that. I think we're getting our promoters, our promoters are promoting and getting creative. And I, for lack of a better way to describe it, they got to bring in that sort of carnival atmosphere and that, that entertainment atmosphere. They got to have, other things for people to do than to drive there and sit around for 2 days and wait on this 3-hour race to happen on Sunday.
Right. Sounds like Nashville is the best place for that to happen.
Yeah.
Nashville would be a big city, bro.
It'd be awesome. I think however many people you can get is going to go, especially that first one. But if you guys do it right, the concerts and all that.
We ran out at the Speedway, and everybody, the industry, meaning crew members, all the people that work in NASCAR, drivers, wives, all the industry people, and the fans all got entertained for a week. We came into town, we went to Broadway, they had parties, and out at the track they had parties. The sponsors were holding parties in town, big events. Everybody was getting tickets. It was great. And that stuff hasn't been happening for years. We just thought, the race is all we need. I don't need to spend 10 grand for a concert act here Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, so we're kind of getting back to being more of an entertainment business, and the race is the main course, but you got to have everything else, the appetizer and all those things.
Yeah.
Pretty savvy in the business world. I was transitioning from like NASCAR, juggling the business, and becoming the businessman that you're obviously being, like being a part owner in the NASCAR Speedway circuit, whatever it's called.
Yes.
I apologize.
No, it's good. I've been,
The NASCAR Speedway circuit. I'm just saying,
a bunch of words that sound like they're right.
Words that sound
I
like
wouldn't know
racing.
either. It's all good.
The NASCAR Talladega race.
Yeah.
I think, I used to tell people, like when I first started racing, and I was just making a paycheck from racing alone. And I used to tell people that I wanted to find my Foreman grill.
Mm-hmm.
So George Foreman had the grill, and in anyone in any athlete's eyes or any race car driver's eyes, you want to be George Foreman.
Right.
You want to have this thing beyond your racing, that's gonna be a big deal, be a national thing, right?
Mm.
Whatever that is, right?
Crushed it in
Whether
college. Love the George Foreman grill.
I did too.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and he sold the hell out of things. And whatever your George Foreman grill is, right?
Mhm.
It can be anything. And so I was just always like, I'm gonna find something and it's gonna land. I'm gonna land something. I'm gonna make. It's whether I create it or it comes and falls in my lap.
Yeah.
And so you try, not everything. Some things are silly, but you try about everything that sounds good, right? And some stuff doesn't work. I've done candy bars and different things that just don't work.
Not enough
Tater chips.
chocolate. What's the deal in the candy bars that didn't work out?
I mean, getting some shelf
They didn't
space.
get in my hands.
Getting shelf space in
I
a
hate
damn
them things.
store, I don't care what kind of food product you are, is competitive.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't walk in and put your tater chips on the tater chip aisle.
Tater
and-
chips.
You know what I mean? In all the stores across America.
Yeah.
It's competitive, and you got to earn that. And so, or be with the right people. But a lot of our things didn't work, but a lot of them did. And the secret to being successful at anything is people. And so, like having I don't know how to run a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I own a restaurant that's in, we have Whiskey River, which is in airports. We got one in Charlotte, Raleigh, and Fort Lauderdale. And we kill it. But I don't make the choices because I would run it in the ground.
Right.
Right.
You got to
But
know
I-
your strengths, which
I
you can and
gotta
can't do.
I got some people that I partner with that absolutely know how to run a restaurant,
Mhm.
and that's why it wins. And so, when you just can't go in there thinking, man, I know how to do this. I know how to run a nightclub. I'm gonna be the best nightclub.
Yeah.
You're never gonna make it if you're not a nightclub owner.
Yeah.
If you weren't born into it.
You can't just think you can do everything,
No.
right? You got to put
Yeah.
the right people in the right place.
Yeah, George didn't build that grill.
He did not.
He
There's
didn't?
no
No.
way he built that grill.
No.
You think George was in the basement
Maybe.
putting things together?
You don't know George, dude.
I do actually know George. No, I don't know George.
I was gonna be like, just stay quiet and let him. Yeah.
I literally tell you anything. So this I actually wanted to talk about. How'd this happen between you two? Let's what?
What?
Because I've heard a gentle story about
A gentle
you
story.
reached out. Will's he flexed on me a couple times. telling me his story.
It's tough sometimes
funny.
throwing around Dale and I being friends.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I feel like the third wheel here, but I do want to know between the two, how did this whole thing work out?
It's a natural thing, man.
It was natural.
He can chime in whenever. How I remember it, we were on our run. That's when we won the division back in 2015, and that was the year I started taking over the job, and we were playing well in the back end of the season. And we started stringing some games together because we could never win like 2 games in a row. It was always we'd win one, we'd lose one. We'd win one, we'd lose one. And then we started stringing together, I think like maybe 3 or 4. And we were having fun on social media. And D Hall and I were close. And he was tweeting back and forth with Kevin Durant. And I, being myself on social media, I'm like, I tweet at both of them. I'm like, hey, DL, introduce me to KD, but be cool about it.
Yeah,
And then he
yeah.
like laughs. He's like, Comp, I'm sure he knows you, man. He's a fan of the team because KD's a big fan of the Washington football team. And KD responds like, hey, Comp, I know who you are, man. He follows me and stuff. And I'm like, I play that up that KD follows me.
Yeah.
And then I
screenshot,
see,
posted.
yeah, exactly. And then
No big
in an
deal.
article the next day, I'm seeing like the media, put together the storyline of what happened. And I saw that Dale was following me too, because they're like, oh, KD wasn't the only one who followed Will. Like Dale had followed me or something. I like,
You a
look,
big
I see.
KD fan? Is that how you saw this thing go down?
Well, he was a
Just a
Washington guy
Washington
too.
fan. Huge Washington fan.
Yeah.
6'82".
Big Washington fan.
And I was always like active on
And you
social
thought
and
this
stuff.
is the guy I'm going to follow.
Yeah.
I was
Wait,
active on
like,
social.
Let's take a pause here.
Yeah,
and go
okay,
here.
you're right.
So
I was like, nah,
let's shelf that for a second. So you're obviously a huge fan of the team.
Yes.
To be just following, you know what I'm saying?
Whoa, damn,
listen,
man,
back
come on.
2015.
I was playing well.
Yeah, playing what? But the first year.
That was back
you know
in
what
my
I'm saying?
day. That was back in my heyday.
We played each other that year.
Yeah, we won.
I know. I am very aware. It was a horrible day. It wasn't fun at all.
You called me like
Brian
white guy or
Araco was
something on
very
the
good.
field. It was you and Alex Boone. You guys were both, they called me like some like white guy out there. But Boone was like messing with me.
I remember going to you
were
and
trying
being
to,
like, hey,
be-
we played each other in college. And you're like, all right.
Oh my god.
I'm focusing on the next
the
thing.
white dude with the Compton on his back. I'm like, you can't, this got to be the same guy from Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, okay. So 2015 hits. Well, how did you get to that man's Twitter?
Watching him play, he's playing good.
Are you serious?
Yes.
And
I mean,
Just like you saw him make a couple tackles and you just gave him a follow?
I think it was more like
Is that you too? Look at that old teeth Will.
That
Hey,
is,
pause it
bro.
on his
Look
teeth.
how thick the old neck is
Hey,
back
you
then,
had a
too.
thick neck on that,
Golly, I look
dude.
so different.
Dale's like just bored as hell. Like, yeah, dudes all the time.
We couldn't even drive the race car that day for real, but
Oh, really?
yeah. But yeah,
So you just started following that day, or was it? Did you see the KD thing?
I think it might have been that day. I think it was that day. I can't remember. I mean, I just, I would.
Come on, Dale, talk me up.
I just was like, man, this guy seems pretty cool, and
Yeah.
we
I agree.
needed, our team needed some personality. When you're a fan, you gravitate toward the guys that seem to show some personality, right?
Yeah.
There's the workman type guy that you appreciate, like, that scores a touchdown, hands the ball to the ref, and goes back to the bench, right? You
Yeah,
like
Larry
that
Fitzgerald.
too, right? But every team needs that sort of clown, right? That class clown.
Jesus Christ, God damn.
I
don't know
couldn't
how
have
to-
said it better myself. No, I mean, that was
The
perfect.
funniest part about that is I know, every team needs sort of a clown, and I just see that part being in just some fucking trailer that we post
Oh
next
my
week.
god! You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
just a fun. You're enjoying yourself. Things are going well for you, and you were embracing that, and you were sharing that with fans, right?
Yeah, that fired me up because Dobson back there he's been my strength coach pretty much my entire life. And
I gotta say this.
okay. Yeah.
All right, I am a fan of the team, and if I can interact with one of the players, I mean, I'm no different than the guy next door who isn't a race car driver and on TV, right? I'm just like him. And
Right.
if I'm just as excited about, getting on social media and interacting with Will as this guy is.
I
Right?
get it, 100%.
And so
People think people that do stuff
they think that
that
I'm
are
like,
right, like
Like
George,
me and
you're not
George
a fan-
Lucas.
like you're not a fan of anything.
Yeah. Like me and George
Exactly.
Lucas.
Nothing
He's like,
impresses
oh, he's
Dale.
really nice. And it's like, oh yeah, I mean, we're all human beings. Like we all like want to hang
Have
out.
fans
Yeah.
of things, like things. Yeah,
So
no
he's
question.
he's playing for the team, and I'm like, dang, that's cool, man.
Mhm.
Because he was cool enough to be, engage.
See, which is crazy because
Right.
I'm thinking, because I knew Dob was a huge Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
fan. And I'm like, yo, I can't wait to tell Dob that Dale and I follow each other. We're kind of friends.
yeah.
Because
If you follow each other on social media,
yeah,
you're friends.
that's what I'm saying. And so
Taylor checks phone to see if Dale's following him.
the next year we were about to go to OTAs. Dale tweets like, hey, good luck in OTAs. I'm like, we're boys, man. And then we get to
that's
go,
tough.
we get to race at the Richmond Speedway. Is that
Yes.
what the track? Oh, yeah. We get to go to Richmond Speedway, and it's just, yeah, that's how it happened, dude. Literally like
good.
Twitter and
And we
football.
just kind of stayed in touch since.
Really?
Yeah.
We text every now and then.
Oh, that's super nice, guys. I'm really glad this has developed into something that you guys can both hang your hat on.
Yeah.
All over the guy, it was just a clown. And he,
Yeah, every team needs a clown. he goes. You got the hard workers, and then every team needs like a clown.
Yeah. That day you guys went driving, like were you guys kicking it up? You guys couldn't drive the race car legit. You said
happened.
we
I can't
couldn't
remember
drive
what it was,
the
rain or
race car.
something.
Yeah, he was like, we get to choose like 4 or 5 players to come out to the speedway. Like your name's on the list. Like make sure we get to go out because it was during training camp.
So you went. So you go to the thing and they say, "Hey,
you're doing like a retirement round
Yeah.
or something, right?"
Something. Yes.
and you go to it was Richmond.
Yes.
Yeah,
Go to Richmond. And they're
that's
like,
where our
hey,
training
do you
camp
want
is.
some Washington Redskins at the
Yes.
time? Washington football team
I was going to end
players.
up. So I was going to go to training camp later that day.
Mm.
Something like that, right?
But we practiced early in
Yeah.
the mornings.
Right. And so we had to wait on y'all. And yeah, I think I put you and
It was me, Kirk, Morgan Moses,
Yep.
Ryan Kerrigan,
Yes.
and I don't know if there's anybody else, but
Those
we got
people
to go.
you put on your list, or
Yes.
you put Will on your list.
I put all those names on a list.
Okay, gotcha. Morgan Moses, huh? Offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Bet you follow him on Twitter. Hey, I checked when you guys.
It's
were
like, hey
talking.
Dale, how much more bacon I throw you now? Let me get that follow, baby. Yeah, it was an awesome time, and I'm sitting there thinking like, we finally get to meet and hang out, and we take like, I do like a little Snapchat selfie with him with the
Yeah.
dog tongue and stuff, and he drives around the car, and I just,
Having
I'm
a
trying to like
blast.
have a blast. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like a kid in a candy store.
No question.
And, I see Dale, the most humble human being. I like to tell people,
No question about
I'm
it.
like, Dale has no clue that Dale's Dale, right?
Right.
And I'm like, screaming and stuff. You see him just driving the car, just kind of like laughing.
He just seems like he's happy to give you this experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, this dude's
Really
having so
happy
much
for
fun.
this
Yeah.
guy, man.
I was
He's having a
nervous
blast.
as hell.
Were you really?
Yes.
What are you nervous about? Because you see how he's on Twitter.
He's driving with Will Compton, dude. What you mean?
the boy. He's with the boy in the car, dude.
You got they're in the middle of their prep for the season.
Oh, we were hyped up too, man.
And
Fuck.
they're
Hard bomb there.
Their minds are on whatever that is, right? Staying healthy and just getting the work in.
Mm.
And they are getting, asked to go out of their way over to do this thing.
Oh, it's like a field trip. We got to miss some of training camp.
All right.
How nice
I
is
don't
that?
know that.
So
I don't- I
and in
don't
your mind, you're
know.
like, this is the greatest day ever.
I'm like,
regardless.
please keep driving so we don't have to go back.
Yeah.
I don't
Dale
know
could be a
all
complete
that.
dick. You're like, hey, good day. You
I'm
know?
sitting there going, man, I hope they want to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude.
But then you went and ran a route against Jano, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Josh Norman. I remember
That
that.
was
We're
fun
buddies.
as hell.
How did that you catch one on him?
I did. So
That's back when Jano was like Jano.
Yeah, he was like the
We
dude.
came off going to the playoffs the year before, winning the division. Kirk was now taking the helm, leading the way at quarterback. So we had it was a good time to be a Washington football teammate.
yeah. So
Formerly
Kurt,
known as-
Yeah.
so that was off script. So we're walking around. I'm just like, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be. And, I'm trying to be out of the way, but there's no obvious place that this is out of the way and their players doing their own thing. And, Josh was, oh, Jesus. Josh is,
Oh, are you showing the Josh thing? This is me and Josh Norman. That's me.
Do you remember that?
Yes. Look
Oh,
at
I
you.
bet he thought you were an asshole, dude.
You think I was an asshole?
like, no, I'm like, who's Josh Norman?
I was
dude?
Kyle Busch to you right
Who's
at that
he doing
moment.
this?
Huh?
He's sitting there like, what's he doing,
Like,
man?
what is he, why is he going after this guy?
Well, we were so this thing we were in 4-minute drill at the end of the game. This is like the game, like it was like December 23rd. It was like Christmas time, and
What's he upset for?
well, okay, so
He
Josh.
did his little bow and arrow
so we did we're 4-minute drill. Obviously, end of
You
the
did the
game.
bow
We're
and
trying to
arrow.
ice him. I did the bow and
That's
arrow.
his
him.
thing.
I know that's
He
why I
was
did
trying
it.
to make it this thing, and then they.
So Derek runs the ball left, smart move, gets a few yards, and Josh tackles him and Gator rolls his leg. And I'm not like, listen, Derek's my boy, but even if Derek wasn't my boy, like we're not going to play those types of games. So I go up, get in Josh's face, and we kind of go at it for a little bit. We end up winning the game on like a pick six. It was like I think Butler picked it off and ran it in when we didn't need to. It was like 15 seconds left in the game. So like Josh was mouthing off to me and I just beeline for the sidelines. He's sitting there. And I'm like, Josh. And he like looks at me. I go, get the fuck off my field, dude. And he's like, what was that? And I kind of put it back again and he threw his helmet at me.
Yeah.
Didn't move, baller move. And the thing goes right by me and he slaps my hand. You obviously saw the video after that. Slaps my hand and all that. But We've tried to get him on the pod a couple times. Like, to me, everything on the field is like, everything's a show in my head.
Yes.
Like, we're playing football. This is entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, I want to beat you up. You want to beat up, but this after it's over, I don't care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we get into it, but he was definitely pretty upset about that. And then this year he's playing for the Bills, and then Derek did what he did to him.
Oh, that was
that was bad.
I love
little
J-No
deal.
too, but yeah,
Flew through the air.
that was tough.
That man is still in the air to this day. What's that? Boom, doo 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 doo, and he's like still floating off. That's awesome. You guys had a little deal there. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you too.
I feel like we're being judged right now.
No, I'm not being judged. It's just interesting to get the perspective of other people, because I don't know. I feel like Will was probably super nervous to meet you too. Getting in there.
Oh, dude, I was fired up. Like,
you're fired up.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little nervous, but I was like fired up too. Just like, I wasn't like a big NASCAR guy growing up, but knowing like Dale Jr., like you just know Dale Jr., just the name Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
And you know people like Dobson and a couple like family members back home that are like, love NASCAR, like love Dale Jr. So I'm like stoked to show Dob. I'm like, dude, check this shit out. And but yeah, I was like fired up to meet him. I'm like, yo, I'm about to ride in a fucking car with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, it's cool.
Now we're drinking a beer on the bus.
For the second time.
Yeah, bro.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. That's all I had. You guys looking for me to add.
You like grab it.
Hey, you
even looked away. You're like, yeah, that's awesome.
We just want to celebrate our friendship.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's nice to be a part of, just to be around it. It's like it's infectious. It's infectious. Zach, what you got?
Yeah, Zach, anybody? Dobson, you guys been back there, I'm sure. 6 to midnight the whole time.
It's all right, let's do this.
I've kind of got 2 questions. We'll start with the first one.
Okay.
Easy, Zach.
So I didn't really grow up, I'm 22, so your dad wasn't really alive, like when I could remember racing, but I was listening to the Ty Norris episode of him talking about the most popular driver award. What kept your dad from winning that, like, for so long? Like, people now, know your dad, but they don't know Bill Elliott. He was the one who was winning that award way back then.
Yeah. I mean, Bill, so the most popular driver award when Dad was alive went to Bill Elliott. He won it 16 times. I think he holds the record. And Bill was popular. Now, he was a popular driver without a doubt. But I can say this, I think, without being too disrespectful, but we always felt like that they had bots before bots were bots. Right.
Yeah.
They had I think, to be clear, what it was is that they organized, like, when the vote was going on, you had to vote through an old news letter, and his fan club would organize and be like, all right, everybody, it's that time of year. Let's go get your votes in.
Yeah.
Right. And, Dad didn't do that. Dad didn't like, all right, everybody, it's that time of year. Let's vote for me.
Right.
And and Bill would win it without fail every year. He would win it. And in my opinion, if you polled NASCAR fans and, Dad was more popular. It's arguable, right? It is absolutely a debatable thing, but in my mind, he was absolutely a bigger star, much more, mainstream, outside the NASCAR bubble kind of guy. Was in films and would cameo here and there, and but Bill won the award every year, and they organized. His fan club and Dawsonville, the city where he's from, they got everybody on board when it was time to get the job done, and he would never lose that award. And it was something, I don't know that Bill was actively out there going, I need this.
Yeah. They have PR teams back then?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So the right people knew that it was good for Bill to win that award, right? And so they organized and helped make that happen. And, I don't think, it was any illegal or wrong. I don't think they did anything wrong, but they just were, they were very dedicated to getting that year after year after year.
It's a good question, Zach.
It was. If your dad was known as the Intimidator, was it Bill Elliott?
Bill's nickname was Awesome Bill from Dawsonville.
Awesomeville from Dawsonville.
Dawsonville, Georgia.
Hey, listen.
Put
Your
them on.
dad should have won every award. If somebody, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. That's tough. Listen, as a casual fan, I don't know who that is.
Yes.
He could be
but
a
I
great
know
guy. He's
exactly
probably
who your
a great-
dad is.
Sure.
You
But
know?
you got to refrain. You got to frame this in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, awesome. You know, it sounded absolutely spot on in the 80s. Like,
Right.
yeah, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. That's people.
It's got a nice jingle to it. Let's
people
throw that in.
ate it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Today, it might not sound quite as.
Might
It
not.
sounds dated.
Yeah,
It
that
sounds-
thing, that name's getting drug on
It sounds
Twitter,
like
man,
if you
on
and
social
I, if we
media.
were at a little round table, like, hey, let's think of a nickname for Dale, and you said Awesome Dale from wherever he's from. I'd say, hey, Will, you got to leave the room for 5. and
Hey,
we're
Will, get the
gonna
fuck
figure-
out of here. You're fired, Bob.
Get him out of here right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
But hey, the Intimidator lives on forever.
I suppose
That
man.
name is
I suppose.
awesome.
I suppose, man. I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to have Bill's back. I mean, it was,
Yeah,
it was
I
a
get
day-
that.
it
You
was-
can let us be the.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you
well,
guys, you guys. Everybody shoots honest and everybody shoots straight in here. But I think that it was in the 80s. It like seemed to make sense, right?
A lot
I
of
didn't hear
things
in the
in the
80s.
Right, coming after the 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like the 80s, like even if you look at the movies like Friday the 13th, it's like and like they have like the 13, and
Like
it's like
when
probably a
you-
swing and a miss now, right? That's like you can do that on any computer now.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Keep
I'm
getting us to the
yeah.
other side. Keep getting us to the other side. Being like, that is a badass name.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, right?
Yeah,
Just
it is,
flip. I
yeah.
can do whatever I want. I can just flip sides whenever I want. That's a latte from yesterday.
Zach also brought up that you had a funny story for accepting the award on behalf of your dad.
I did. So the banquet at that time was in New York City, and my dad is passed away earlier the year before, and Bill Elliott bowed out of the voting that year and said, "Do not vote for me."
Really?
And so Dad won it. After that year after his death, he goes, and so at the banquet they have a dinner or breakfast the day before, the morning of, and they give away these special awards, right? And that one of them is the most popular driver award. And they want me to accept the award for Dad, right? The night before, I'm hanging out in the lobby or in the hotel somewhere at the Waldorf Astoria, and Kenny Schrader and a couple other guys, the race car drivers, peers of my dad's, they're like uncles to me, right? They're old enough to be my dad, and they treat me like I'm their son. And they're like, "Hey, we're going to Hogs and Heifers tonight in the meatpacking district. You got to go with us." And I'm
Hogs and
like,
Heifers?
yeah,
Is that a strip club? What is that?
no, it's a drinking.
Hell of a strip club. Hogs and Heifers.
It's a dive.
Hogs and Heifers.
It's a dive bar.
That place sounds
It
awesome.
was amazing.
Yeah.
In the meatpacking district in New York City. So that's all I remember. I don't know if it's still there, but I don't think it is. But anyways, it was a tradition for them every year. And so I'm like, sure, I'm wherever you're going, I'm going. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I can't believe you asked me. And so I go and we drank, and I sat at the bar, and the bar's closing, or they're leaving. It's 1 or 2 in the morning, and they're leaving, and they're like, "Hey man, let's go." And I'm like, "I'm going to stay." And thought that was a great idea.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so around 6 o'clock in the morning, the bartender's closing, and she's like, "Hey man, you want me to get you a cab?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so." And she's like, "Where are you staying?" I said, send me to the Waldorf Astoria. So the cab sent me home at 6 o'clock. And the banquet, the breakfast for the most popular driver award is at 8 o'clock. I go upstairs and climb in the bed, and I mean, I am hammered.
Yeah.
And so the general
I'm
manager
hammered,
for
John.
DEI, my dad's company, Ty Norris, comes up there, and he's like, "Hey, the banquet or the breakfast is happening. Come on."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I ain't going down there. Fuck that. I'm not doing it." And he's like, "No, you got to go do it. This is your dad's award." And I'm like, "I always got to accept everything for him. Ever since he's passed away,
Yeah.
I got to go up there and get all the things."
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to honor him and acknowledge him. For right or wrong, I got frustrated with it, right? I probably should have been thrilled and absolutely honored to do every single thing, but I wasn't. And I didn't take it that way, and I didn't do it right or wrong. But so I'm like, screw that. I'm tired of doing this. I ain't going down there. And obviously I'm drunk. I'm not thinking correctly. And that's probably weighing a lot on this whole thing. So Ty says, you do what you want to do, but you're going to regret this shit for the rest of your life. Your dad's never won this award, and only one person can accept it for him, and that's you. And he turned around and walked out. And I got up and ran out the door and I said, hey, he's heading down the hall. I'm like, wait, all right, I'll get my shit on.
Yeah.
So I put on my suit and I walked down there and walked up on that stage when they called, when they said, they present. I walked in there, they've been holding off. Like, this award goes
like he's not
earlier
here yet.
in the set, right? Yeah. So they're putting this off. And finally I walk in the room and they're like, okay, he's here. Do the award. And so the award happens and I go up there and I don't remember anything about it, but Ty said I spoke well. And
That is awesome. That's so
walked
funny.
off the stage, right back to the double door exit and right back up to the room.
Oh, that is all time,
I
dude.
tore all the shit
Good
off
thing
and
you
climbed
did
back
that.
in bed.
Good thing you did that, man. That's awesome.
I know.
I'm glad I did. I would probably, that'd be something you'd regret.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, your boy was right.
Yeah.
Then I love how he just turned around and walked out.
Yep.
Just set the scene.
Good for him.
Yeah, it was good.
Zach, was that your second question?
No.
God, dude, Zach's so hype.
So this is, I guess, more or less athlete mindset. Maybe Taylor and Will can relate to this, but they may not know this, but you went on a 4-year losing streak. What was your mentality like during the middle of those 4 years where you were just not winning?
I was saying to only a very, very few individuals that I wanted to quit. This is miserable. This sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. How can I end this? How can I get out of this? How can I stop this? I just don't want to. And I didn't say it to like my car owner, Rick Hendrick, or my team, because I knew, one, that I wasn't being honest with myself, and obviously I didn't want to destroy the relationship. Rick wasn't giving up on me as an owner. He gave me a whole lot longer leash than he gave other guys, right? So because if other guys didn't get their stuff together and run well, he sent them down the road, and he hung on to me for way longer than that, right? And I knew that, and there was part of me that was thinking, if I keep coming back, it'll turn around, right? It's got to turn around. But in some of the toughest moments, you're just like, I want to disappear. Even if I regret this and I just feel like a failure, I'll just fade in. I'll fade into the beach somewhere, and nobody will ever have to worry about it. I'm glad I didn't. Right? I'm glad I didn't take that. That would have been the easy, cheap way to do it. But I was glad I stuck it out. We got back to winning some races and had some things to enjoy, at the back end of the career, and that was really, really good.
Yeah, Steve Letarte came in and brought a whole new dynamic.
Right. So is that
who's that? Who'd you say?
Steve Letarte. That was the crew chief that came in.
I changed crew chiefs. Yeah, I changed crew
I
chiefs.
feel like that was like the thing. That was like one of the big pivots.
So I changed crew chiefs. So things were bad. 4-year losing streak. Not a threat, right? And people in the garage, and guys on teams that you may even looked at like this, but they're not a threat.
Right.
They're never going to be anything you got to worry about, right? They're not competition to you.
And you thought you were viewed that way?
Yeah, in the garage.
That's got to be a tough feeling to have.
Sucks.
God,
Yeah,
that does,
that is
bro.
brutal.
Yeah,
Especially for 4 years. You're like,
Yeah.
man, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
So I changed crew chiefs, and this guy that came in, his name's Steve Letarte. He was kind of rejected by the driver that was driving for him a little bit. At least he viewed it as, I'm not wanted by this guy. And he came to me and he said, I think me and you are both looking at our last chance.
He said that to you?
Yeah. And he's like, we're going to do this and we're going to make it work. Or, if you don't do what I need you to do, then it ain't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so he looked at my approach and my prep and said, you're going to need to be at the truck an hour before practice starts. I was just showing up right on time before.
Yeah.
That was good enough. And he's like, I need you there an hour early. I need you to stay as late as I need you, whether it's 4 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is. You just don't leave till I tell you you're clear. and he just had all these rules.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never had anybody place that in front of me. And I was like, oh, all right, if it's my last chance and it's your last chance, I'll follow every rule. I'll do everything you asked me to do. And dude, we did it. We got better. It took a while. Now it's a process, but we got back to victory lane and we won a handful of races and Daytona 500. I won a Martinsville clock. I mean, we had some great years where we ran good, top fives, contending every weekend. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
Then he called, and then, so things are at their best, right? Everything is amazing, right? 2014, going into 2014. So we're in the middle of a great, we're doing good in 2013. And I got a rumor. Somebody told me a rumor that he was going to take a broadcasting job with NBC. And I was like, how could he do that? The hell?
You confronted him about it?
No. So I got this rumor on the way into Charlotte Motor Speedway. We were racing there in May. So I've got this crew chief, right? And we were doing well. And when we don't do well, instead of looking at me and going, all right, man, I need you to try a little harder, he looked at me and he said, I got to build you a better car. And I'm like, holy shit, I've never heard that, right?
Yeah.
I've always heard that I made the mistake or I needed to try harder. I wasn't dedicated. I wasn't focused today. Never had a guy told me the car I built you wasn't good enough for you and I got to do better. And I was like, this dude's shit.
Yeah.
And he was a massive, awesome cheerleader. Always like, come on, man, we can do it. Come on, stay in there. Always cracking the whip. Come on, we can do it. You know, if you're you're hearing this over the radio, it's pumping you up every race. Anyways, he's taken this job as a broadcaster and I was devastated. And so, we ended up, I go to him and I'm like, dude, I heard this thing. And he's like, yeah, I wanted to tell you, but, I'm sorry the rumor got to you before I could get to you first.
That's a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah,
You wish he could have told you himself.
Yeah. And so, we ended up his final year was 2014. We won 4 races, maybe something like that. And, then he went and did TV. And so I raced a few more years and had some more fun. And then when I got ready to retire, I went to the booth where he works.
Really?
Yeah. I said, hey man, you cool if I come to the booth? They're offering me this job. He's like, come on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now we're back.
I love that.
That is
Back
cool.
together.
I love to hear that for sure.
Yeah.
Those 2 years after he left, was there like a nervousness transition, like that support system's kind of gone?
Nope. So there was this prospect, Greg Ives was his name. He's a crew chief, bright engineering mind. And I talked to Steve and I said, okay. I said, man, you're leaving me. You got one job outside of us going through this final year together. You got one damn job. Like every time there's a void in this team, you don't try to just fill it. You try to put a better person in that position. If we lose a guy for whatever reason, he either gets fired because he doesn't do his job or he gets hired by somebody else, you always try to bring in somebody that's even better. It's not, you never bring in a guy that's the same or worse, right? You always, anytime you have an opportunity to fill that void. I said, now it's your turn to fill your own void, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, find me that guy that's better than you. I was like, here's all the names I'm hearing. Here's the people that we could go after. And he's like, that's the guy.
Knew right away.
And I'm like, I like that guy too. I'm glad you feel that way.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was
That's
helpful.
very cool.
Yeah.
I love that. That's hard transitioning from anybody. Like having the support system and that's cool. He was so cool about that. And
that's one of the tough things about, that's one of the tough things about life is learning that you're going to fall in love with people. You're going to make these amazing friendships with people, whether it's your wife, your best friend, your dad, your cousin, your buddy from high school, but none of that stuff lasts forever. That was such a hard lesson to learn, and it's still not easy to take, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I had this guy that was like a grandfather to me when I first started racing, and we had to split up because of for me to learn more about my cars, I needed to work on them, and that meant him driving an hour to work every day. he's like, I'm not driving an hour to work because the cars were at his shop. And I was like, I need to work on them every day. I can't drive, I can't go down there. He's like, we just had to split. And it was like a death, man. Like, cause he was like a granddad to me. I love this man. And I think, splitting with Steve at that time, those are difficult things to deal with in life, but you got to realize that nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, man, that is so true too. Yeah. It's like sometimes, like, just think about like almost being done with ball. Like, damn, like this chapter that you've worked, up to 23 years to play it, a sport that the average career is light. And then to play, and then, now, like it's almost final and over, regardless if I want it to be or not. It's just crazy to think like, something you think is going to be forever, knowing that it's not. And then it's finally here at the finish line or, it is nuts. And then friendships, like, Taylor was mentioning you were talking about like seasonal stuff. Like it's just crazy that
there's friends in your life that are like seasons. Like there has this big vertical leap and you're like, God, this guy's the best. And then for whatever reason, it kind of just fizzles out. But then you make like 2 or 3 that are like lifetime friends.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. The best are the ones where you might not hear from them for a long time, but you can pick it right back up.
That's how me and my buddy from high school are, man.
They don't give you that. They don't give you that feeling or that vibe that, man,
you should have stayed in touch the whole time.
Why haven't you been calling me? Right?
Yeah,
they
exactly.
don't care. They're just like glad to hear from you.
Yeah, you got a buddy who you can get off the phone with and a month later call back and pick up on the same conversation.
Sure.
Those are the ones that last forever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No doubt, boys.
When you were talking about your dad and like kind of always wanting him to like give you that approval, and like when you started racing, you started to see that you guys, when he went from preaching to, okay, you're kind of working together as a tutoring. When he did pass away, where were you guys at in your relationship? Was it
really
everything
good.
you wanted it to be?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was this, I don't know how to put this into words and articulate it just right, but man, he was looking at me like, this is going to be part of the future of my business. Right. I mean, it had to be. I'd won, over a dozen races in the Xfinity Series, 2 championships back to back, and was moving into the Cup Series, had won the All-Star race as a rookie, won at Texas and Richmond. And I had this potential, right? I had this prospect of success, and he was building this brand new race team to be the best in the business. They called the shop the Garage Mahal. I mean, it had, this whole thing was just big. This whole dream and vision of his was really becoming a reality. Dad could walk into the garage up to the best motor builder, no matter who he worked for, and say, I want to talk to you about coming to work for me. And that guy would more than likely say, I got time to talk to you. That person was never going to say, I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dale. They were always going to think about it, consider it. That was Dale Earnhardt asking him to come to his, and he was going to take them and spend as long as it took to convince them that this was the future and they were a part of it. And he was just amazing at that. And so what I guess I'm getting at is that he was going to absolutely build one of the best race teams that this sport would ever see, most successful race teams that this sport would ever see. He had the ability to get all of the people that he needed to build the best, fastest race cars, and you weren't going to beat them. And I think that he was looking at me as a corner piece to that puzzle. That those are the ones that you put on the table first. Yeah. Right. To build it. And I think he was looking at me as like one of those one of the key pieces that was going to be part of the future.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That is really cool.
I don't know how you guys build puzzles, but I'm the corner piece.
No, I get it. There's usually 4.
I'm thinking you're the heir to the throne.
As a dad of a 3-year-old, we're doing the puzzles.
Yeah. The Legos are
trying to teach her about the corners. I'm like, get the corners out first.
Be like this.
And
both of you.
You do the corners and then the outside.
Work your way in. That's right. Listen.
Both of you are fathers of 2 daughters.
Yeah, you have 2 daughters? How old are they now?
3 and 8 months.
Gosh, mine's just turned 4, and then I have one that's turning 1 in a week.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It is awesome. It's definitely, it's cool to see their different personalities. 'Cause you have one, you're like, okay, they're all like this.
Right.
And then you have the next one. It's like, oh, listen, this is way different.
Yeah.
You know, but it's very cool being a dad. That's awesome.
It is. Yeah. It's crazy how different they look. You'd think, I mean, I'm not, it's different for every parent. Some parents, their kids do look similar, but, these two that I got, man, they appear to be complete opposites, and their whole vibe with, they give off is not the same.
Yeah.
And, but it's fun and it's good. And, but it's so challenging to try to, my 3-year-old, and you're probably dealing with this too, is pushing the buttons, right? And she's testing our limits.
Right.
And, boy, she says some things that she doesn't know are rude, right? Get out of
That is the hardest thing.
I
It's
saw
just like,
Taylor's oldest win almost choked Taylor to death.
I went into
Remember that when she didn't want to get out of the pool? And you're like, hey, it's time to get out of the pool.
Yeah, you're at the house and then she's like screaming. It's tough, man, because I mean, my childhood wasn't the best. And so like for me, it's like I want to make sure that you guys have everything you need without being spoiled, and also appreciate the things you have. And it's just you just don't want them to be like that kid, whatever in that situation is, that's got to act like that. And so teaching them that conversation, like what you're saying is when they just say things to you and it's so rude, but they don't know it's rude. And like, I'll be talking, my daughter will be like, stop talking.
Yes.
I'm like,
dude,
I'm like, what'd you just say? Mom's not around right now.
You probably deserve it though.
But
patience is, go ahead. Sorry.
I went into Isla's room the other day and she's laying in there and I'm like, hey, you good? And she's like, get out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're 3. Like, what the hell? This
don't you
get
want
out
me around
stuff's
right now?
not
What's that
supposed to come
about?
until you're like 9, 12, right? Like, get out of my room, Dad. But she's 3 and saying, get out of here.
And the most random things, they'll be so mean to you, and then the next minute they'll like kind of crawl over and snug on you a little bit and turn around and just give you a kiss, and you're like, it's all right. We're gonna get back in there. You know what I'm saying?
Forgive you.
Yeah. Nah, dude, my kids are awesome. I'm gonna definitely be that dad when they start doing stuff like, see what my kid did?
Hey, always tapping them.
Yeah.
Hey, you see that?
You see what they just did there? I love
Always got the video on your phone.
Yeah.
Just taking videos all the time.
Do you wish you had a boy?
No, because so I was thinking about my own life, thinking about growing up in, thinking about growing up in my dad's house and how much people expected and thought, man, you're just automatically going to be this rock star race car driver.
Yeah.
You're just going to, you're going to follow right in your dad's footsteps and do everything he did and more. And I might not have been as self-aware of all that when I was a kid, but I definitely wouldn't want to have to watch my son be subject to that. Right. And so, I didn't want a son. I wanted another girl the second time. If it was going to be a boy, I was going to do what, it was going to be fine.
Yeah.
But, I'm selfish. And
It's always going to be fine.
Yes.
It's
almost like there's some other option. Like, if
I know
the boy came.
But I'm just, that's what I'm
I was going to be okay.
Put him in the woods.
I'm trying to make that clear.
Yeah.
Because people aren't supposed to wish for one or want a healthy baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I
want a boy.
feel okay. So my wife is badass, and my first girl is giving me all this love, right? And I'm like, damn, I'll take some more of this. This is great, right? My whole house just bubbling over with, it's pouring out the windows, right? And I think a little boy would come in there and just be like, Tasmanian devil, right?
The terror.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just creating all kinds of difficulties. But
would you name him the third?
no, hell no. And so,
God damn, Dale, take it easy. I'm the third now.
hey, no,
No, hell no.
I think that'd be awesome.
no.
The junior's the thing that's like, all right, well, you got to get it going.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then
Get
once
it
you hit
started.
Third, fourth,
Yeah.
fifth, it's like,
I
got
feel
a
like
lineage there.
Yeah.
No offense, Junior.
I'm trying to have paintings hanging in some royalty wall one
with
day.
like a
Black and white
Like
photos
it.
of them in suits and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Handlebar mustaches and stuff.
here's the first, the second, third.
Yeah.
I was worried that I would screw up the boy.
Yeah.
Right? That I felt like that I wasn't parent material in terms of being able to teach them right and wrong and manners, and I don't have that in my mind. I'm thinking I don't have that ability. I'm not a parent. I've never parented.
Right.
I'm probably going to be pretty bad.
So
at
is
this.
everybody before they have their first
Exactly.
kid. Yeah, but we all. Yeah,
and I'm
100%.
looking at my wife going, now she's got it.
Oh, no
Even
question.
though she's probably sitting there going, I don't got it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm looking at her going, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And she can keep these girls in line because she knows girls, right?
Right.
I don't, I can't screw these girls up. Amy's not going to allow it, right? She's going to raise two perfectly amazing girls, and I will have nothing to do with it.
And if not, it's on her. You know, like she takes all that pressure too.
Well, if a boy, it was sure to be a mess.
Yeah.
That was the way I had it in my head.
I hear you.
That is absolutely not the reality of the situation, but that's like in my mind, that's the way I think. I think I'm a weird.
Do you
weird
think your
person.
patients have gotten a lot better? Like for me, whenever my kids like
I'm sure
kind
they've
of coming at
had
me,
to have
yeah, they have.
gotten
Like
better.
whenever my kids coming at me, my first go-to thought is like, how do I handle the situation so you're not traumatized for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how do I handle this situation the right way?
I
feel
try.
like my patients have gotten a whole lot better.
I have gotten to the point to where like Isla is trying to do something, and I'm like, you're not gonna bother me.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to get me upset. You're
Right.
trying to trigger me. You're trying to get this reaction out of me. And Isla, I'm not bothered by what you're doing right there, and keep on going.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think I didn't have that in year 1.5, 2, but I used to let her bother me, man. She could hurt my feelings. My little 2-year-old could hurt my feelings.
Crush you.
Like my wife. Right.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, what?
I feel like it's almost
How
worse
are
when
you-
your 2-year-old does it though,
I
because they're so
know.
pure.
I know. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how are you able to have that power over me?
Yeah.
And so like you work that out, right? I've finally, for the most part, worked that out. Now she's going to have new tools. You know, as they get older, they come at you with new things they say that
Right.
are like, wait, that hurts. That's a new one.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And we'll deal with that when it happens. But it's it's interesting. I'm hands on, man. I take Isla to school, pick her up from school. Like when we had our second one that first year, my job was taking care of Isla, get her up, get her dressed, get her to school, pick her up from school, spend the rest of the day with her, get her get her a bath, get her teeth brushed, get her back in bed. I mean, boom, 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 every day, man. I'm down. I wanted to change diapers, and I dove right in, did all the things.
Once you get the diaper thing down, it's kind of easy.
Done to it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Teach you.
I know. One day.
I got you. Come over
Hopefully
with
soon.
a teddy bear.
Yeah.
We'll start doing the whole thing.
Yeah. The
you
teddy
know?
bear.
Get it going. Dob, you got a question?
It's been the longest pod we might have ever done.
I
Rightfully
know.
so. I mean, this is what we needed. Like
Hey,
Dale on the Dale bus.
I know. What do you think of the bus?
I
Yeah,
love it,
like-
man.
Yeah.
I was honored, like that y'all chose to do your pod in this bus. Was really cool to me.
That's awesome.
It was
When he
So-
got here, I asked him, like, what do you think? He's like, it's cool, man. And
Y'all
I'm
were-
thinking, like, hey, come on. I mean,
No,
Yeah.
this is like,
Your numbers.
I mean,
are the
you
same.
guys.
yeah,
you
like,
know?
this is your fucking
The
bus.
cool thing is like we didn't paint this. Like
Right.
this is
Right.
so-
This is
how
like,
it is.
yeah.
There's a story about this bus. I've come across 5 or 6 different people. It's like, oh yeah, my buddy used to own that bus, and then
Right.
somebody else's buddy. Like this
Passed
thing's
it
been
down,
around
yeah.
forever.
It's got
You know
sold
what I'm
to a few
saying?
different people.
Yeah.
Copy.
Good deal.
I think it's
So-
badass.
Who's 25?
Schrader, probably. Yeah. My drinking buddy.
Oh yeah, you guys are cool.
He flew out here. He's going to hang out with a buddy afterwards.
Schrader's the one
He's got
that
a
drugged me to
boys'
Hogs
night.
and Heifers in New York.
There it is.
Yeah.
Finest strip club in all of New York.
It's not a strip club.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Hey, you want to know what's cool?
If Amy listens, it's not a strip club.
You want to know what was crazy about that? Is like we're in the middle of New York City in a dive bar, and they had NASCAR crashes looped on all the TVs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never thought this is what I would see.
Mhm.
I was like, this is the best bar in the world, and I thought it would be in like Talladega, Alabama, or Daytona Beach, Florida, but it's in New York City.
How cool is that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I love
I could
that.
sit there and watch that all day drinking beer. In a dive
I love
bar.
that. I love how much you love beer, too.
Crashes on a loop. Yeah,
I know you only drink 2 though.
I watch
2
for the
hours?
wrecks.
Yeah, he did only drink 2 beers, but we were.
What
I mean, he was the
I
one
think you
entertaining
guys
us the
are
whole time.
only on your first.
I'm on
I'm gonna be
2.
honest.
I'm on 2. I'm on my
haven't
second
sipped it
2.
at all.
Hey, do y'all know this little trick right here?
What's that?
So you're college boys, right? Y'all drink plenty of beer in college.
Uh-huh.
Y'all have never seen that.
No.
So this is so when you drink a lot, you don't drop it. See that? And also,
So it's a grip. You're creating a grip on
also
the can.
it speeds the flow up out of the beer.
Oh, if you want to speed the flow up, you just give a little.
Okay, here we go.
You just give a little push, and then you got the.
Yeah, I ain't doing
You got the
that.
vent.
Like at
You know what
beer
I'm saying?
12,
So you want to
you're going to
spin it,
lose
yeah,
a
no problem.
thumb.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might get cut. I might cut my thumb.
Okay. Yeah, don't
You just
try
put
that. Don't do that right here because absolutely going to cut your thumb off.
He just starts bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, it just starts gushing out.
Give that a go one day. I saw a guy, I went to hang with my sister. I was 15, 16 years old, and I drove down to her college at Wilmington and sat around a table playing President and Assholes with her.
What's President Assholes?
Nobody's ever heard of President?
Maybe Dobson. I was gonna say maybe
Dobson's
older.
back there.
It's
Oh yeah. Did I President Assholes?
there's another
No
name
question.
Yeah, I know.
It's King. Okay.
Oh, okay.
King's Cup?
Yeah.
We call it
Circle of Death.
Well, there was we called it President and Assholes. There was asshole and there was a president. At the end of
Yeah.
the game. And there was this guy denting his cans. And he was like, so I can count how many I've had at the end of the night. But he's also telling me about the flow. And
Yeah.
he doesn't
Telling you the
drop
science
it.
behind it.
Yeah, there's a little.
How does it help
science
with the
to
flow? I don't understand that.
it. You have to try it to see it, but the beer flows over this hump.
Tony, hey,
The beer
Tony,
goes.
Mac- Tony goes.
I just don't. I'm not a scientist. So I
Okay.
can't comment.
Tony's back there. He's just.
The beer goes over this hump. The beer goes over the hump. Try
And then-
it.
and then
Dad,
down
we got a
and then
fucking can right here.
Can't drink.
Why are
Hey,
y'all
you
so
know that.
hesitant to give this a go?
I'm
You're not
prepared.
gonna
I'm prepared.
You're not gonna drown. I promise. It's not gonna come out so fast you can't handle it.
Chug that. Chug it. Chug the whole thing. Yeah, chug the whole thing.
It's too fast.
chug it
It's
like
way
that.
too
You know,
fast.
What do you mean?
Don't
Just
put me on the
just
spot.
try to
Don't put me on
finish
the
it. Just
spot
don't.
like that. Don't
But
put
you
me
have
on
to
the
see
spot
the
like
speed. You have to see the speed. So just do half.
I'm just gonna do a little bit.
I hear the bubbling. It's already not worth it.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
Did you hear the bubbling the whole time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like it was kind of the same speed.
Same speed.
See, if you vent it,
Of course, it's gonna pour
that
out.
thing's pouring
Yes.
no problem.
Super fast.
And you're not gonna get the you're not gonna get the.
I think
foam
we
in
could
the
see it
tummy.
if you did it. I know you can't,
I'm
but I
not
feel
gonna.
like the best person to do this example is definitely him because he could hold it and we could actually watch the flow. No
yeah,
pause.
I can open the throat.
Yeah.
I spent a little time in
Yeah.
juvie. It's not a big deal. Anyway, no, just kidding. I'm not kidding. I appreciate you coming on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was awesome, bro.
I literally, it's a lot of times you sit there with somebody new and you kind of do this around about. We're trying to feel each other out.
Yeah.
You came on, you telling stories. My mouth is just open, listening. And like, you know what I'm saying?
it's like
just
grandpa sitting around a fire and they're just telling some old tales.
old war stories.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
I've been
Seriously
looking forward to this
appreciate
for
it.
a long time, man. I'm glad you guys had me on last year, and it's I love the bus. I love what you guys are doing. I do podcasts, so I kind of keep up with what you guys are up to. We are all kind of learning from each other and taking things off each other that we like. And
Not to force ourselves on you, but we should probably get on the Dale
could probably
Jr.
come on the
Y'all
podcast.
we
should
could
probably come on there.
We'll come
the
on for
Dale
sure.
Jr.
Yeah. We also talked about on the last podcast you're on, this whole Western town you have.
yes, y'all need to come see
We're
that.
still waiting on that
Yes.
call. We're still.
Just come
Next
show
offseason.
up.
I don't know how that works. You just want me to show up at the door
Just-
with a stick and a
You do the
me-
same thing. Hey, it's 24/7. You can come whenever you want. See, it feels weird, right?
Yeah. Well, I
just-
don't know him like I know you.
One
Like,
day
you need to
while
talk
me and
about it.
Will
It's
are
a totally different-
texting, we'll sort it all out.
Yeah.
Figure it out, right?
Yeah,
When
we'll
we're-
text.
when we're-
You guys
when
figure
we're-
it
yeah,
out.
we'll text.
Yeah.
Just call me. I'll be on a Southwest C30. I'll be on that thing. No problem.
Dude, I feel like you'd probably enjoy just the way you're out there talking about your truck. I'm sure they both know what each other's saying here. You're talking
Oh,
about
listen,
the
dude, I
suspension
couldn't.
and
I'm gonna sit there and talk for 6 seconds, and he'll go, and I'll be like, "You lost me."
yeah.
You know, like I like the way trucks run. I love
Yeah.
beautiful old vehicles.
Yeah.
and that's
We'll go
where
check it
kinda
out.
ends.
We'll-
I can change the oil.
Yes.
I can get that done for you, no
For sure.
problem. Maybe depends on the car.
All right, subscribe, rate, review, barstoolsports.com/merch. That's where you can get our merch. YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the algorithms, comment below, do all the fun stuff. I'm sure NASCAR culture might be killing us for the Bill Elliott stuff, but
Probably more.
Where's
about,
Bill at now? Is he?
You
he's
were-
still
how do
with
you-
us?
when do you
He's still
think-
around?
They're
more about
probably
what?
killing you more about what you called the series and the.
oh
Yeah, that was
shit,
tough
I
to
didn't even
listen
know
to.
that was that bad.
the Circle Track NASCAR Racing Series.
Yeah. It goes-
Seriously.
God, just getting
Just don't
drug
even-
out there.
Hey, it's better than it's right around the same thing as Awesome Bill from Doomerville or whatever.
And we just went in on him. He goes, "Listen, I'm gonna have his back." We're like,
back.
"Oh,
We're
NASCAR
like, yeah,
culture.
we're assholes, whatever.
NASCAR culture is killing us right now."
Yeah.
But
Is Bill still around?
Yeah.
He's still
Oh, yeah.
still doing his thing.
He's hanging
Was your
out.
dad and him rivals? I'm still trying to do it. What am I doing here?
They were so
I mean, I'm thinking in my head, you probably want to go
I
tuck
gotta
the
go
kids in.
so
I
bad.
know.
My kids got to go to sleep soon.
And I think as long as he's asking a question, I guess we're good on time.
Talon's cool.
Yeah.
But those kids been missing their dad all day. You know what I'm saying? But your dad and him were
They're
cool.
good, yeah. They were good, yeah.
Yeah, that's very
They had
cool.
a few run-ins, but everybody does.
Then with the Intimidator. Who was his big rival?
Go YouTube and watch the 1987 Winston All-Star race. Just that's one. If you're going to watch a race about NASCAR history,
That's the one.
go watch that one. There's others, but that'll be a good one for you.
All right.
1987 All-Star Winston. They called it the Winston.
The Winston.
Yeah, because Winston cigarettes was a big deal. Sponsored
Cigarettes was a big deal back then.
I think they kind of still are.
Yeah, but not like. I mean, they're on
I
every
get what
sign
you're
to like,
saying.
hey, smoke cigarettes. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then whenever NASCAR stuff comes in that,
Go ahead. Hey.
I'm sorry.
Add that
I
beer
walk
into
with
you,
me.
huh?
Hey,
He's
walk-
on 2 beers.
Yeah. Hey.
We used to have a guy on our team called 2 Beers because he would get like this after a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that, Will.
Struggle
You
to
and
talk,
2 beers.
Struggle to put thoughts together.
I tell my buddy
Hey, that's
Chris
old
is,
2
man.
beer Billy over there.
Yeah, I had a buddy named Chris back home. The first thing to go is his speech. And you're like, fully functional, just words aren't coming out for the poor guy. Chris Arnold. It's my cat, man. I love him.
But when NASCAR comes to Nashville, we obviously need to be communicating because we need to have this bus somewhere
Oh,
visible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
Right on the track.
Right on the track.
Make it
right
so
on
you
the
guys got to
track.
move around it. We'll do
Yeah.
a pod. Or, yeah.
You do your thing in the booth. Us, Tony, will all hang by you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been most wrecks ever because there's a bus in the middle of the damn thing.
But appreciate it, man.
My thought. Hey, I'm excited to finally be on the show and can't wait for folks to hear it, get that feedback, man.
Yeah, we need that
gonna
NASCAR
be great.
culture.
What's the name of your podcast?
The Dale Jr. Download,
Dale Jr. Download.
all major podcast platforms.
Let's go.
We're
Subscribe.
always in the
That's
same realm in the rankings
Are we?
as the
Well,
Dale
yeah,
Jr.
we
download
are,
a little.
yeah.
Hey, they stay a little more consistently above us, but there's some times now we're all in the same realm. We're competing against old Dale.
Where do you guys?
Oh, he's our main competitor.
La-
He's our Kyle Busch.
Because he's in the sports category. Yeah, he's our Kyle Busch.
last
You get
thing-
way better ratings than us, we'll fucking kill
There
you.
we
All
go.
right? I gotta go. I gotta walk out now, right? That's what I have to do.
That's a great ending
Now I gotta
for this
leave.
podcast.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Thank you
Got it,
so
man.
much.
Thank you guys. Thanks for the beer.
Oh, yeah, we had to get that right. Big shout out to you guys. If you enjoyed this episode and love and support Bussin' With The Boys, go to whatever podcast platform you're on and subscribe to us. Leave a review, rate 5 stars. If you're already subscribed, unsubscribe and resubscribe again. It helps the boys climb the charts. And again, we wouldn't be doing this and can't do this without you guys and all of your support. We also have a YouTube channel. If you'd like to watch our show or these episodes, they're on YouTube at Bussin' With The Boys. We're also on social media at Bussin' WTB. You can follow us everywhere. Go buy our merch. You guys know that whole deal. But thank you so much. We are forever grateful for you. The biggest of hugs and tiniest of kisses for the boys, always and forever.